How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I'm confused, Tim Wagner. I was telling Josh, I randomly opened my phone to Instagram and it sent me this. I just seen this thing and it's like a red-eyed cat thing wearing a hat riding the back of this weird black humanoid thing, but it has a literal pizza face and just I don't know. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm looking at, dude. And then you started and just oh my gosh, sorry, that was just a whole
it's gonna be so good because there's gonna be like you saying something and then me just hitting the intro. I love it.
All right.
Fucking weird video setting off the beginning.
Super weird.
It just makes you go like, how in the fuck did the algorithm send me that? What is this?
Oh, I don't. There's the I don't even know where the algorithm found it.
Right.
It might be one of the weirdest looking things I've ever seen. I didn't have the audio up. I just looked down to see whatever I just saw. And that's when we started the podcast and I'm just like, oh, hey, all right.
Okay. What happened? All right. Well, this episode it's gonna be pretty summer filled, I think.
Summertime.
Because well, technically speaking, in Minnesota terms, Labor Day weekend is the last weekend of summer, and it's coming up right quick here, without getting into specifics because of recording and launch days and other things that are going on. So, Tim, it's the end of summer. We're going to do our fishing check-in for our 2023 fishing goals that we do at the beginning of the year, and then we're going to jump into our summer breaks. I put breaks in quotes in the document. I don't know how much of a break you took or I took. But anyways, we're going to talk about that in the second half. Yeah. Should we hit it?
Let's hit it. Skabaloosh.
I did it on purpose this time.
Hell yeah.
So let's get into the fishing news. You know what?
I like it. That was a nice happy accident.
I know. And now you listen to it and you're like, this is cool. I like it.
Yeah. It sounds right.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. Clickbait headline. Sometimes you have to search and sometimes you have sex.
Hell yeah. Sometimes you got search for it. I don't know what we're talking about though. You better not get too far in the weeds before it just go off on a rant. You're just like, that's not quite what I was talking about. Just like, oh yeah, I know. I was joking.
No, this is a real headline. I didn't even make that up. But I'll tell you why.
It's a real headline, huh?
It's the real headline, and I will have the link.
That's crazy.
I'll have the link to both of these things in there. Because I picked something totally off what we usually talk about, like it's out of our realm. So I'll have both links in the YouTube video. If you go over to YouTube, youtube.com/RealAFTV. Remember @RealAFTV.
Oh,
it's real like fishing real. We have the links and the time codes in the YouTube video because they actually work in that. Like you can click them and it'll take you places.
Yes.
This is an Icelandic report.
Oh.
So the source that I found it was an English translation. But then they cited the source, so I clicked on it and it took me to the Icelandic site. So it's literally a .is website, meaning Iceland. And I hit Google Translate or Bing Translate or whatever the fuck browser I was in. And that was the headline. That's what the headline translated to.
I was honestly, once you said that, I was like, could it be something that's like lost in translation?
Yes.
And it's just like, that's awesome. Just to, I really want to know what they're trying to say now. Do you know?
I don't know, because even as we talk about it, I go, sometimes you have to search and sometimes you have Is it a success? Maybe I don't know, but why
Oh,
searching?
no, I bet it's not that they screwed up their word. I I guess maybe it could be like one of those words that could mean two different things,
Right,
and for whatever reason, Google went with that.
right. That's
I
kind of
don't
what
know.
I was thinking, but
Weird.
yeah. So you,
Well,
it's weird.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say maybe we'll get into whatever this headline was about, and we can try to crack the code with more information.
Right, right, and even knowing that. So, anyways, this is about ocean
Yeah.
fishing.
Okay.
Again, something that we don't touch on too much, and even more, something that we don't really talk about is commercial fishing. This goes into commercial fishing, but I
Mm-hmm.
chose this one because the headline was dope, and I was like, okay, I got to do
Yeah.
that. I can't believe it
Yeah.
translated into that. I'm going to bring
Gotta
it to
use
the
this guy.
top. But also because it's about food. It's about food in the
Mm.
sense of this is mackerel fishing, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. Someone has
Yeah,
to go
okay.
out and net all those mackerels.
Right. 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 Right.
Uh,
Right. Right.
so, anyways, mackerel. It's about mackerel. Decent over there on that side of there. More of a food source. There we go. More of a food source over there than it is probably over here in the United States.
Oh, now I'm just thinking how funny would it have been if you would have said that headline and I just go, holy mackerel, and then you just go, you nailed it. And then we just go, what?
Oh shit. Let's do a retake and then we'll we'll make it sound like that's what happened. It'll be cool.
Oh man.
Um but anyways, yeah, it's an ocean fish. It's smaller for an ocean fish. They school up and they just net these
Yeah.
big bastards. Um
And
and
they use them as bait too for some of the really big fish.
right. That's
Yeah.
what I actually thought because tunas, I think, right? Here in the States, I think mackerel actually end up on the end of tuna hook more often than.
A lot of big fish, yeah, because
Oh, okay.
it's kind of like a smaller version of a tuna, the shape.
It
There's a
is.
lot of fish that are actually shaped very similarly. But
Yeah.
yeah, mackerel is like a smaller version, and then like a king mackerel,
Oh.
is what I caught in St. Thomas,
Oh, no shit.
where they look almost kind of like a barracuda. Like it was like a 40-inch fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you still have the
yeah,
photo?
yeah, someplace.
Yeah, you should put it up on the gram.
I think it is on our gram.
Oh, is it? Well, you should
I
repost
think
it
so.
for in when this goes live.
Okay.
Anyways, I'll write that down and I'll just post
Sorry,
that.
I tried to pull up the thing and that shit's still there. It's a fucking weird thing. Oh man.
I
But
knew
yeah,
what it was right away.
I'll have to I'll go and repost it on there. But yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
don't do it right now. I'll just send you a reminder.
Oh no, I know. I was just looking to
Okay.
see if it's there.
If it was there, yeah, because I remember seeing it. Of course, just French it, but yeah, that's right. I didn't know all the stuff that you just said, but I totally just chalked it up to like sunnies up here.
Yeah.
I was taught to always call them sunnies, but then you go and you dive in and there's bluegill, pumpkin seed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely have to put it on there because it looks like it's not on there. But yeah, I think there's a lot of smaller fish that are very common, but I
Mhm,
don't know.
mhm.
I don't know if I equate it to the same. I would equate it to like panfish, like where a mackerel is like smaller, but there's larger numbers, because there's like
Yeah.
we got perch and sunfish are definitely like the ones that you see the most. But I think that's more because of that's the one that you see up shallow off of the docks where
Mm,
everybody is. Like
right.
if you go fish deeper and you're finding those perch, like you're gonna catch a shit ton of perch because they're just smaller fish with bigger schools. Because you got those and you got
Yep.
the yellowtail things. Shit, I forget what they're called. Big ones they call flags.
Mm,
Um, and I can't remember right now. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
there's
not.
a couple of different fish down there where there's just like there's smaller and there's large schools of them.
Yeah,
And clearly mackerel is like, I think
one of
you
those.
might be right. I may have misspoke. It probably is closer to the sunfish because clearly there's massive schools and they're easier to find. That's why they're netting giant numbers of them.
Right.
Are mackerels, I know it's not 100% accurate to all the fish, um, but are mackerels what are in Finding Nemo that end up breaking the net?
Oh,
Where they just keep
shit. I
swimming and they
don't
all swim
know.
down? I wonder if those are mackerels.
I do now too. Because
Huh.
it could be a cartoon interpretation of it. Because you're right. I mean, they look kind of like tunas, and that's totally what this topic is just a chance for us to talk about some an ocean fish and the
Sure.
commercialness and like a different part of the world. Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. That's a really good question, but they do. That's how they get them is like that in
Yeah.
the big nets, and then they even compared them to tuna. Your comparison to tuna,
Yeah.
it was like the canned tuna that we have here in the States. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
where else it is, but
Yeah.
that's
Everywhere,
not
I'm sure.
probably. But that's not
Yeah.
like that's not the tuna that you're thinking about. Like that's not the sexy TV tuna, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's not. It's just not.
Yeah. Because the
And
big tunas go for high price values. Those are the ones that are being made into like sashimi
yep,
and like sushi grade tuna and big tuna steaks.
yep.
The tuna you are getting are the small ones that are like the same size as the mackerel.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the comparison, the draw between the two of them, when I was reading, because they did it, they said it in this article. Even they were like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like tuna, and I was like, well, I know it's not that kind of tuna. Like, I know
Right.
it's not the red tuna because they're just little, like sardine cans. Even you can get them basically in like sardine cans,
Right. Yeah.
and yeah,
And it might be too, like, I don't know if it's even one of those things like, where you get a beef stick and they're just like, this is an elk stick, and then when you look, it's like a little bit of elk plus pork and chicken and
yep,
beef, it's
right,
got all the meats, but there's also a little bit of elk in there. I
right.
wonder if that's the same with like a yellowfin tuna, because sometimes you can get them where it's like yellowfin tuna and you're like, ooh, that's the good tuna, and it's just like, yeah, but you got small amount of tuna. And I think it's just like some of the like ground chicken and nuggets and stuff
Right.
where you're getting like the scraps
Right.
that didn't make it,
That they
you're not
boiled off the bones, basically.
exactly. Yeah, you're getting the leftover stuff where you're not, getting the prime cuts of all of it. It's not saying that it's bad meat by any means,
Right.
but yeah,
It's
definitely
just
when
there's
you
better
see that
parts.
giant tuna and you see it filleted up and you see that just like beautiful like deep red color and you're like, damn, that is a good looking cut of meat,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you open up your can of gray flakes and you're just like, clearly we're not looking at quite the same thing here.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, so the big deal here about the article, and this is one thing I was just like, holy shit, this is why I want to talk about ocean fishing quick is so they're having to go to the northeast of like this is the Iceland fleet that we're talking about. So they're having to go up toward the northeast, and that takes them towards um, Norway's
Yeah.
territory.
Yeah.
And they said the Icelandic fleet is having to travel nearly 1,200 miles round trip to fish. Like,
Damn.
dude, if you were putting 1,200 miles on a vehicle to make money, like, think about how much money you'd have to make.
I know,
And
dude.
this is a ship. This is a full operation that has to travel 1,200
Yeah.
miles to and
Right.
from their dock to make money.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck.
But that's like, I mean, that's kind of the same. What are those shows? Isn't one called like Wild Tuna or whatever?
Yeah. Wicked tuna is the
Wicked
like
Tuna.
the hand fishing tuna one. Yeah.
Oh, that's a hand fishing one. Okay, I don't watch a lot of those, but
Yeah. Well,
some of the
we have to hand fish tuna in the United States. It's the only way you can catch yellowfins.
I see. So, and they're catching like bigger ones, right? But like those
Yeah.
don't. Some of those, there are other shows, right, where they're like doing the commercial fishing and it's gnarly. Like they're out
Yeah.
there and like
Deadliest catch.
giant. That one, that's the one I'm
But that's
thinking of.
crab. Again, we're
So
talking
that's
about mackerel, dude. We're talking
right, right,
talking
right,
about tiny little fucking
right.
sardine, like, tin can. And I don't know if they're more valuable over there in Iceland, because from what I understand is that Norse region eats more fish in general,
Yeah.
and mackerel is
Well,
one of them.
they're bigger than sardines though.
Yeah, they can be small. Like, if you've they're bigger than sardines, but they can come in that sardine can, is what I found.
Oh,
I don't
oh
know
yeah,
how
yeah.
big they are, but they can be packed up
I
like that when they're in,
I
on
th-
the smaller end.
I want to say that they're all like in like the foot to 2 foot range.
Yeah,
Like they're relatively
I
like
think that's what I
decent
saw.
sized fish. Yeah, you're getting decent meat off of them if I remember
Yeah, I
correctly.
forgot.
But I was just picturing it
But yeah,
as like, yeah, that's they got to take that ship all the way there. But I was just thinking about it in like the Deadliest Catch where they don't have like a huge crew. It's not like a giant staff because I think you can handle
yeah,
just running those nets with a couple of people, and obviously it gets sketchy.
right.
But they're those people make pretty decent money because overall the haul of what they get 1,200 miles is a lot. But
Yeah,
when you think about if they're getting a couple dollars of fish and they bring back like 30,000 fish,
yeah,
and then
yeah, and you make a good point.
you split
Good.
that 6 ways. I mean, that's still not that good of a living, but I might be
No, I
undershooting
get where
it,
you're going. You're right. Maybe I just was
it
thinking, like, yeah, maybe I thought too much. I just thought that was a cool distance, like an incredible
is
distance
insane
to
though.
have to
No,
go and catch
I'm not
fish.
trying to
It's like,
knock it.
whoa.
I'm trying to justify it actually.
Yeah.
Like
No,
not
yeah, I get it. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
You are. Like, I like how you're running the real-time economics, and you're like, "Nah, works
Yeah, I'm
out."
like,
Because then,
it could yeah, it could make sense. But also like, that job seems to be kind of uh, like a carny thing too, like where it's like,
takes a certain
you
kind
it
of
takes,
person that's
yeah,
just ready for it.
somebody that's just being like, it's decent money. I won't be around friends. I won't be around family. It's gonna suck, but I'll have a paycheck,
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
just like, somebody's got to do it.
Right. Yep.
Like, all right, yep, okay, I get it.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it's definitely that certain type of person. But yeah, dude,
Yep. That's for sure.
I wouldn't mind going to just catching mackerel. That would be cool. Like
That
I
would be
don't
fun.
to just if you could put us on a school and I could just cast in and then keep fighting one.
Yeah.
But I've seen like the blackfin tuna don't get that big.
Right.
And our friend Tony Young,
Yep.
uh down in the Florida Keys, he was spearfishing a couple of months ago, and I don't think it was actually the world record. I haven't reached out to him, but he said that, this guy, I don't know if it's a friend of his or somebody he had out because he's a charter out
Mhm.
there, but
Mhm.
he said with a world record blackfin tuna,
Oh,
and
really?
that was maybe like a 20-pound fish.
Oh, okay.
So it was a big blackfin tuna compared
Right.
to what I've seen. So I don't
Right.
know if it's true world record or if he's, just being,
Social, like, hyping it up for social media.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, hyping it up because it is big and he's just,
Not, like,
oh,
falsely hyping it up, but, like,
right,
that
right. Yeah.
exaggerated, like, banter thing that you do, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. An over exaggeration. That was what I was
Yeah.
thinking, but I couldn't, come
Yeah.
up with the words in my head. So you're
Yeah.
just being like, look at this monster.
Right.
And it was a big fish, but yeah, that's all I could think was just like that blackfin tuna was huge for its species and it was 20 pounds,
Right.
where I looked the other day for fun. I think the world record tuna is like 14 or 1600 pounds.
Yeah. The yellowfin.
Just massive. No, I think it was a
A
bluefin.
bluefin. Sure.
Yeah, I think the bluefin's the real big one.
I think so too, now that you say that.
Yeah, I think
I
the
get them mixed
yellowfin
up
is.
though, because it's fucking. I don't. They're when you're watching it on TV, it's also fast paced. It's hard to tell the difference.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think the bluefin, it gets to be in like the 400-500, maybe up to like 8. I don't know, but I don't think that that's like 1,000-pound fish
Okay,
in general.
gotcha.
And I think the bluefin is like pretty easily like our average is in the realm of 1,000.
Okay, Makes
because those
sense.
are big ass fish,
Yeah.
and they're fast
Eyeballs.
as shit.
The eyeballs are huge. That's what I
Yeah.
remember.
Oh my gosh. I remember. I'll still have to see if I can find that video for you, but they're the way they don't disturb the water. There
Oh,
was like a
yeah.
yellowfin tuna charging the surface, and then it would turn right before it hit the water, the surface of the water, and you could see it just flash, and it's close to the surface, and the
That's
surface
crazy.
of the water just didn't move at all. You're like, what the hell,
How in the
dude?
hell?
A
Yeah.
sunfish swims underneath the water
And
in
you can see a little
Minnesota, and you
ripple.
can see a little wake.
Right.
And this is, a massive fish, and it doesn't move the water one bit. Just like, what the hell, dude?
How in the hell? It's
I
crazy.
don't know. It's mind-boggling to me when I saw. I just want to, like reach out to Neil deGrasse Tyson and just be like, explain this.
Okay. All right. Let's jump into housekeeping here. So let's see. Oh my gosh. I know one thing that I got to kick it off with here is thank you to everybody who's following us on YouTube again. If you're not following us on YouTube, you should go over there, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But we just had our best launch couple days on episode 75. I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, whoa, this video is getting traction.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Keep on sharing and shit, because
Hell yeah.
it's
Keep
going
on keeping on.
it's going on.
Yes, much appreciated. That was news to me. I
Yeah.
didn't check out the latest one. So yeah, thank you much. I appreciate everyone checking us out.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, keep sharing and keep
Or I appreciate, I don't know, does it count the same person? Maybe thanks, Aunt Brenda, for watching the video over and over.
We're just watching it again and again. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got Patreon too that we'll talk about
Yep.
in the split here. This is every other week podcast. Remember, if you are one of those people out there listening to us full length through and you want to share this, share that we come out every other Monday, and that in the off week we drop the fishing topic on Wednesday, random take on Friday, if you want to just hear that part, but they don't get all that fun banter in the front like the fishing news and stuff like that we just did. So, maybe tell them this is the off week stuff is getting your toes wet. You'll come over to the big one. And comment. We called out in 75 a lot. That comments, feedback. Just wanted to say it again, is realaf.tv/contact. Hit us up, leave comments, feedback, all that stuff. Same with the iCast one. We said a lot in the iCast, like, hey, hit us up. We'll talk about it. So if you want to contact us, we're there. DM us on all the social medias and shit. And easy to just email us, realaf.tv/contact. That's it.
Sploosh.
Let's talk about our fishing problems. I'm gonna call them fishing problems.
That's not a bad way to say it.
Summer has slipped away already, Tim.
I know, dude. It sucks.
I
did not accomplish a lot that I wanted to accomplish. Good news is we still have fall. Yep. I still will have time to fish, hopefully. So it's not over yet. But definitely I did not get nearly what I wanted to do done.
Did you make a fishing vision board this year?
So I didn't make a fishing vision board. When I actually saw that in the doc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing.
I didn't either.
I know that you put down like no excuses, just why.
Yeah. Because I don't want it to sound like, we're a fishing podcast. So I'll just say that I just put, you saw that in the doc.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because I don't want this to come off as a couple people who just get together and talk about fishing, but never actually go fishing.
Right.
I wanted to I mean, if you don't know about the podcast, you don't know about us. If you are new, given the new traction and stuff like that, we're dads. We're busy,
Yep.
40+ hour a week dads.
So
Not
yeah,
just dads. I mean, we work our
emphasis
nine to
on the
five in
plus.
quotes, and then
Yeah.
we come home and we be dads too. And so,
Uh-huh.
uh, there's a lot of fishing history. Being from Minnesota, Tim's deep in. This is his main hobby, um,
Right.
and I do think that everything we've done is credible. Everything that we're doing with the Really Best
Yes.
TV podcast is credible because we're trying to
100%.
teach, learn, make mistakes, teach
Yes.
more. Like
And
go.
oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
I was just going to say, before we move off of this, since we're kind of giving an introduction to anybody new, if you weren't familiar and
Mhm.
stuff too,
Mhm.
I have had multiple boats in my life. Things haven't gone well. I have now a little tiny boat that I can't do a lot with because it's literally just powered by a trolling motor. So I
Mhm.
rely on my father's boat, and he only has it on one lake up north. So I'm limited to stuff like that. So some of the goals I set for myself have been hindered by this. So
Mhm.
if anybody's wondering, like, how do you even have fishing experience? Well, it's like I have fished many lakes in the past, and I've fished one lake all the time, constantly. But sometimes, as far as like my plans go, it's hindered because it's not my boat. I'm not the only one using it. I have other
Mhm.
people with me all the time,
Mhm.
and it makes things a little bit harder. So I just wanted
Mhm.
to throw that out there, that a lot of this stuff is, I don't necessarily get to accomplish my goals because there's a lot of different things at play.
Mhm.
But my son starts school this year, and that's going to free up a lot of money with daycare. So the boat is on its way, not on its way, but I will have a new boat.
But you're
I will
working
be
on it.
able to
Yeah.
fish.
Because that's
Yeah.
also the thing with your boat situation is that like the up until, what was it, just before the pandemic, so like 2018 or so, you did have your own
Yeah.
boat. So like you didn't have to rely on your
Yeah.
dad's. And so when you were
Well, yeah,
when you were at the lake, you were able to go out on your own boat on your own terms.
exactly.
And
Yes.
now it's just like kids want to go on a cruise. Grandpa's
Right.
taking them on a cruise and you're
Yes.
going with, but
Exactly.
you're probably
Yep.
not stopping to cast.
Yep. And in the past, I've always for a lot of times I've been like in between boats.
Sure.
It's like I had this boat, then it shits out. Then I gotta sell it, find a new one. Then I have that boat, then it shits out. Then I sell it. And it's been like that. And now I've been patiently waiting where I
Hmm.
have this cheap, just electronic powered thing because I don't want to get stuck in the same cycle of buying an old boat that has been around for so long and
Right.
went from like hand to hand. And it's like, who knows how well these people have taken care of this stuff. And I'm
Right.
just over that part, and I want to get something newer and more reliable. And
Right.
when that happens, I promise the goals are going to start just popping off because then I'll be able to have all my gear. Like, you don't even think about some of the stuff that happens. Like when it comes to like fishing in my dad's boat,
Hmm.
the rods and the reels and most of the tackle is coming down to the dock every single time. When I have my own stuff and I have like different,
Mm.
places to lock up, and
Hmm.
even for camera gear and recording gear, like
Right.
that stuff can just be put into a storage area that can be locked, and then when it's
Right.
time we just unlock it, take it out. But it's not my boat, so I can't just be like, I'm going to put all this stuff here, I'm going to put all
Right.
that stuff there,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
it really hinders a lot of stuff with what I want to be able to do. Even the mounts, I can go and put the
Yeah.
mounts and just leave the mounts on permanently, and then
Right.
all I got to do is take the camera off. But I
Right.
can't do any of that stuff until it's my boat. So
Right.
it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah, for
just
sure. And it's those sort of things. Like I don't think any of those are excuses at all. I just don't. I want to stray away from the comment section, going like, "Well, these guys don't even fish. They're fucking just out here making excuses." And it's just like,
oh yeah.
I already have the internet commenter in my head, and I shouldn't. But I I wanted to still preface it that way. That's why I put down no
Oh,
excuses, just the whys, because I
right,
don't want to sit here and dwell on the like, well, I could have here, but then this and
right,
that and the other thing, and it's just like, nah, yeah, you didn't for a reason, right? Like I could have,
right.
but then I did this. Oh no, man! I hope that stays connected. We just got an alert that we
Oh,
dropped
mine,
connection. I'm good.
mine seems to be going.
Yeah, me too. I just saw
Yeah,
the
good. Oh,
notification and I just let it get
all
to me. I
right.
should have just kept talking. But
Whatever.
yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
hate like making excuses, and I hate
yeah.
listening to these, like I hate listening to people talk like this even. So why make a podcast about it, of where they go, well, I could have done this and then I could have done that and then I could have done this and it would have turned out like that. It's like that's an excuse.
Yeah,
That's an excuse.
right,
I'll tell you
right.
right now. Here's one. Walleye fishing for eaters with new gear for me. This is still
Yeah,
possible,
right.
but right now I'm having a hard time
Definitely.
figuring out when that's going to be.
You know, when it could be is when we possibly can make time to set up and go fishing on that like floating pier thing.
Oh,
You'll be able to do that there.
no shit. I just didn't think. Oh
There's a
God,
goal that we can accomplish right away, dude. Like,
I
so
hope we
that's
can do that.
so if anybody doesn't know, I can't even remember what it's called, but
I can't remember.
in Minnesota here, there's like a river and they have like this floating dock,
It's
but I
on the
think
border.
is it right? Yeah, it's on
I
the
think
border
technically
of
the business is
Minnesota.
operated out of Wisconsin, but because it's on the river,
Oh,
it's you can
okay.
fish with your
So it's
Minnesota
fine.
license.
Either
So.
side, yeah, because one side's Minnesota, one side's Wisconsin.
Right.
I see. Yes,
It's
that's
border
I forgot
waters.
about that part.
Yep.
Yes, because we did chat about that a little bit, but yeah, so that it's like this floating dock, but the dock is able to like move. I think it's motorized, almost like they just have. It's like a barge almost.
Yeah, I couldn't totally figure it out.
I
It
couldn't
looked
either, but
cool.
it looks so cool, and they can move and they like hit different spots, and they're fishing for walleye in that river and stuff. So we can definitely get some stuff done this year still. And I
Oh
have
yeah.
summer's not completely over.
No.
You know, getting back into the goals and stuff. I do want to say like again, this isn't excuses. These are reasons why. Like, so
Yeah.
I put down that Kyogre lure
Yep.
and I'm like, I'm going to go fish that. I went and put new line on my rod and reel and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot to bring a leader. I didn't bring up any of my muskie
Oh.
stuff because I just had the rod.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the only lure I'm going to use. I'm not going to go fish for muskies per se.
Yeah.
I am going to try to catch a muskie with the Kyogre lure.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that don't know, Kyogre is a Pokemon. Duojon made it's a collaboration with Pokemon,
Yep.
and they made a lure that is a Kyogre lure.
Yep. We have a
And
box
this,
opening over on our YouTube channel. If you go check it out.
yeah, yes. Oh, also speaking of the YouTube channel, if you wanted to see what my little boat was like, we have a crappie video where I fish out of the
Oh
little
yeah.
boats.
Yeah.
It's the only actual fishing video we have up
We've
besides
made so
the episode that we did live where
And
you
the short,
played
which
video
wasn't
games.
even fishing.
Yeah. Right.
It was a
But
story.
you played video games and then I went actual fishing for crappie a little bit too early and wasn't catching spawn, but I did catch some bass and stuff in that video, but that was a live version of the podcast. Anyways.
Yep.
So if you want to see what my little boat is like, there's 2 different episodes out there where you can actually see me driving around
That's right.
fishing out of it.
Yeah.
But that Kyogre lure is a $50 lure.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not casting this shit out unless I know that it is secure. I'm not dicking around with this. It's a topwater lure, so it floats.
Yep.
But I've lost other floating lures. Like when you cast and they go flying for a really far distance.
Okay.
Sometimes if there's some waves and shit, when you get close for whatever reason, like you're like, it's over there, and then you drive and then you just can't find it.
Huh.
And this one, I would think I'd be able to find it since it's like blue.
Yeah, it's like bright fucking blue.
Bright blue. It does not look like a normal animal. And the feathers, it's got feathers covered hooks and stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it's a top water bait and it walks. And dude, I got a leader on it. But then when I went up there, so my whole week I didn't have the leader, and we went into town. And I bought a couple of things and I completely brain farted and didn't buy the leader. And I'm like, shit. And it's so far away to go and grab a leader because
right.
they didn't have the leaders like close. You
Yep.
know, I went into Brainerd, which is a decent hike,
Yep.
and just missed it. So that just
Damn.
sucked where I was
Damn.
just like, I just screwed up on this. So I learned a lot about walleye fishing that week and just kind of really dissected a couple of spots. And
We'll get into that in the second half, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I got
Okay.
excited about that. But that Kyogre lure,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that bait walks so cool that
Wait,
I
you
really
casted it?
have, dude, I fished it for a little while, but it was so damn windy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Top water on a very windy day doesn't really work very well. But I was
Okay.
able to like kind of pull it sideways with the waves so I could really see how it fished.
Mm-hmm.
And it has so much action, but it doesn't move very fast. Meaning
Oh.
that it's basically like over the strike zone. Like if it's by something that's hungry and it's just kind of splashing and stuff and
Uh-huh.
something wants to eat it,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be there, not really trying to like outrun anything. It's just gonna be there letting that fish like decide if it wants to smash it or not.
Mm.
I I casted out the Pikachu lure too because I have both of
Oh,
them.
you did.
I was not very impressed with the Pikachu. I was like, I don't like the way this swims.
Oh
It's kind
no.
of like it kind of moves a little bit slower. And I was like, I know that I'll catch a bass off of this or a northern eventually if I keep using it. But I
Yep.
was like, I don't want. I've seen other people catch fish off of the Pikachu, you know,
Yeah.
because so I'm just like, that's not even what I'm interested in. I want a big fish to smash this Kyogre, and
Yeah.
after taking it out, I'm 1,000% more confident. I think I've said it before. That's fucking stupid. You can't go more over than 100. So I'm very confident. But I'm very confident that I think something will eat it as long as it's not turned off by the weird coloring and stuff. I
Okay.
think I will catch a fish. I don't know if it's going to be a monster, but I don't see how I won't at least get a northern to bite
Right.
eventually.
Like you at least a decent size
Yeah, I
northern.
just look at it and I'm like the way this moves and the way this walks. If I keep casting it, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
get something that's hungry,
Right.
that's going to see this thing that seemingly looks like it's struggling like a motherfucker on the surface.
That's crazy to hear. I love that they hit the water. Like you got them out there, but the caution around them because
Yes,
they are like collector's editions. That's how I'll just put it. It's
right.
like they're collectors, and so I totally understand. You want to use it? That's fucking awesome. I won't use mine,
Yeah.
and there has to be a level of caution that you have to put around it. So,
Oh yeah.
but I'm
Well,
glad they
not
hit the water, dude. It's
right.
so cool to hear. I love hearing the firsthand
Yeah.
experience. It's and to hear how much it walks and like doesn't move and stuff. It almost makes me go like, is it like a struggling bird almost? I mean, you probably
Yeah,
maybe don't.
kind of.
Yeah.
That's probably not a bad way to put it cuz I think a struggling bird is kind of like both wings at the same time is kind of how it swims.
Okay.
But I could see if it was injured how it would be like one fucking wing at a time cuz that's what it's kind of like.
Yeah, that's what
It's kind of like almost just like flailing as it swims through the water.
okay.
It makes a lot of commotion. It makes a lot of noise. It's I really liked it. I was like, this is a winner
It
right
sounds like
here.
you had a
I
fun time with just watching it. Or
just watching it a couple of times. I was just like,
yeah.
oh, look at that thing. I started showing everybody else. And like, Dad, check this out. Showing my dad, Braxton, you gotta check this out. You know, my nephew,
Uh-huh.
everybody. I'm just like, you guys gotta check this shit
You
out,
gotta
dude.
look
Look
at
at this thing.
it.
Look at that thing. And they're like, oh yeah.
That's cool.
So we're all on the same page. We're like, yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool. How did
Except
it
for my
fly?
dad. Through the air, it
Mhm.
went pretty good because the arms, when you cast out, they're like jointed.
Mhm.
So when you cast, the arms actually like fold in, so it
Oh
flies
my
pretty
god.
good. And then when it
It goes into
lands,
fucking dive mode, dude.
yeah, but it
Like
flies
like
backwards.
Falcon dive. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so when you
cool.
throw it, it's like ass first with its
It's like a
thing stuck
Falcon
in.
sumo bomb.
Falcon Sumo. Dude, that's the name. That's the attack I got to use when I cast it out. Kyogre, use your Falcon Sumo Bomb.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's good. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it hit the water. That's good
Yeah,
progress and a good shot. But yeah, you definitely have catch a fish on it. So it's, I mean,
right.
you got it together. I mean,
And
it
it's
sounds like
still
you have a setup
possible.
for it.
Yeah,
So
it's still possible this year. It was just that, like, once I got it out, that last time we were up there was high winds and big waves
yeah,
the
just not
whole
right for top
weekend.
water for
Yeah, so
sure.
we got I won't be up there for a couple of weekends, but we got Labor Day coming up still. And even if that doesn't work out, there's still a couple of lakes around here that I could definitely go and try to fish it out of the little boat,
Sure.
which would be even more insane. Catching
Yeah.
a big fish on a
Have to do
Kyogre in the
something
little boat.
that's decent
Yeah.
and get it in. Okay. What we'll stick to yours and then I'll jump back to mine because, well, nah, yeah, we're gonna go one more. Okay. You have dogfish, home turf. Did you learn anything about the dogfish, or is this something we should save for the second half? What do you got?
Well, should we? I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's
Okay.
so the I didn't learn much about the dogfish, but there was something else that happened, and I don't know if we should hit it right now
Or save it.
because it
I say we save it.
does. We save it.
I say we
Okay,
save it and you just say catch a dogfish on home turf. You just answer that. You did not catch a dogfish on your home
I'm
turf.
gonna. Yeah, we'll say that I did not catch a dogfish on home turf. Now, I will say that we did play around. We did try a couple different spots. We changed some stuff up.
Oh.
I will say too that there was a couple of areas I was in different areas,
Oh.
and it's where I thought maybe there might be a dogfish here, or whatever. I was in an area of the lake where, like, for whatever reason, all the water was like, I don't even know how to describe it any better, but like slightly like a silverish tint to it,
Whoa.
and the water clarity wasn't on point, and it was like,
What?
what the hell is going on here? This is weird. And yeah, it was a little bit weird. And
Didn't-
snapping turtles are not aggressive, from what I know. But there was a big party and a lot of children on a trampoline, and I don't know, 100 feet from that trampoline was a 30-pound snapping turtle.
Jesus.
So I was like, ooh, that's do I say something? Do I, do I be like, watch your toes? But then those children, the one just going by, the one's just like, you catching any fish? And I'm just like, some. And then the one kid trying to be funny goes, what's your favorite kind of beer? And I just go, the kind you can't drink yet. And then just like, because he's just like a child. I don't know.
Right.
They're trying to be weird.
Yeah.
But that is tying into a little bit of the summer. But I will say, like, we did try some different spots. We
Okay.
did try some different stuff.
And we'll get into it
It
in
wasn't
the
necessarily all to like catch dogfish, but it was like, there's a chance here. I never went and really sat down because I think the key to catching dogfish, which the really hard part is because of like the time restraints and how I haven't had the opportunity to do what I want all the time, which with that week up there, because I did spend a week at the cabin,
Mhm.
I thought that I'd be able to do more, but those were the hottest days of the summer.
So
And
far.
we just sat so far. Yes, correct. But 2 of those days were just like, well, we're just going to sit in the water and do nothing. You
Right.
get up early in the morning. You're like, I got 3 hours before I can't stand to be out here anymore.
Right. Yep.
So it was that kind of shit where I thought like, okay, I think I can get more done. And then it was just so damn hot that you're like, well,
You were like, mm-mm.
I yeah, and it was like me, my wife, and my son. So then it just almost feels selfish at a certain point too,
Right.
where she doesn't necessarily want to swim with him in the water all day, just them two.
Right.
And then I'd just be like, "What? It's hot out, so you get him in the water, and I'm just gonna leave you." You know?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, totally. And that's why that when I preface this with the whole like, if you
Yeah.
haven't been here before, we're dads and trying to balance hobby and family and all that stuff, because those are the
Right.
exact moments where, yeah,
Yeah. And he's
um,
too young to just, be chilling in the water by himself, and he
right,
doesn't want to. But yeah, so I guess long story coming to an abrupt end was we tried some different stuff. I was not successful. I didn't see any. I have seen some in the past. I didn't even
sure,
see any.
okay, yeah.
So,
And on the dad note thing is, I'll go into mine is catch a predator in one of the local ponds here, with a
yeah.
ghillie. Now I'm gonna change that, and I'm just gonna say
Ooh,
catch a predator. Who cares? I'm gonna freaking Tim. Uh, Shit, my joke didn't
fucking
work.
fucking
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen
I'm
it.
gonna Chris Hansen it, but I fucking forgot his name, so my joke didn't work. God damn it. But I was just, yeah, I had it down specifically with the ghillie because the 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 ghillie that I bought is identical to the little bait fish that swim in the majority of these
Oh yeah.
fishing ponds around here.
Yep.
And I did get to try. We got one of those. I don't know if there's a proper name for it, but I'm just gonna call it one of them kid trailers that you pull behind the bike.
Okay. I just the the mashup of kid trailer when we're talking about predators was just like
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm just like, where are you going with this? I just tried to catch a predator, so I got one of those kid
So we got a
trailers.
kid trailer. Oh no! Oh no! It sounds horrible.
Oh, but I get what you're talking about. Where it's like one of those, it's like a two-wheel deal, and then your
Yeah.
kid just, it's like kind of like a screen
Yep.
in like little
It's like a
room.
screened
Okay, I
in,
see.
yeah, like a screened porch with wheels that you pull behind your bike.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah.
homeless people use it for carrying things. I see them all the time. I don't know where you got one. I'm just like, well, thought it'd be nice to have one. I don't know where you found yours.
Right. I've been looking around trying to find these for less than $100. It's impossible.
Yeah, where'd you get
Less
yours
than
from, dude?
$200. Fuck.
Right.
But anyways,
Yeah.
so we got one, and so we took it out for a cruise, and yeah, I threw it. I tried. I got
Okay.
my ghillie out there in the pond. I uh, that's it. I could see the fish jumping, and they were on the other side, and
Mm.
I just didn't make my way over there. But
Well, I remember that like that pond is just high pressured. I remember that one time
mhm,
I came and fished. I'm assuming it's the same pond that I fished that one time. But that one I could see the fish, and
mhm,
it took me a while to get him to actually eat
to still
something.
get it
Like
to
I
go.
had to
Yeah.
really coax him into, take this thing. Where
Mhm.
I think that's part of the problem is
Sure.
just it's, you know, I think
I'm probably fishing high pressure areas.
I bet you if you set it up on a drop shot, you'd
Yeah?
be able to get him to eat it because the drop
Okay.
shot you can, because some
With the ghillie?
yeah, because you can. So I don't know if you got the big one or the small one though. If you got the big
It's
one, it might be hard.
it's small. I mean,
You got the small one, yeah. I think
I
you
th
could drop shot a gilly. Yeah,
okay.
you because you can. Sometimes people think that you can't drop shot some of the bigger baits because drop shotting is generally like a finesse technique, but you can do a finesse techniques with larger baits.
Okay.
I've done it with 5-inch minnows before.
Mhm.
It works, but it's just you just have to upgrade everything.
Mm.
Don't go out there with a 5. You know, it's it's a different hook that you
Okay.
should be using and stuff for the most part, just because of like the gap should be set up proper so the line doesn't like really interfere, but you can technically you could really like rig it on any hook and
Mm-hmm.
just with the right knot drop shot it. But the big thing about like high pressured fish like that, when if you're keeping it in the strike zone, especially something like a gilly where it's a power bait so it's scented,
Mm-hmm.
and you're moving it kind of like a dead, or
Yeah.
like a wounded
Like a wound.
sunfish,
Mm-hmm.
and they're opportunistic feeders. Like if you're just kind of jiggling it in that thing's face, not necessarily, you can't really just like cast it out and jiggle it in its face, but if you just kind of move it
Mm-hmm.
and you get it interested and it comes over and it's just sitting there in the strike zone, not moving, that's when it might just be like, yeah, whatever. And then just eat
Okay.
it,
Okay.
Because that's how I remember I ended up catching that one fish as I was using a weightless fluke, like really started slowing it down and just barely
Oh.
moving it and acting like a dying minnow. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know for
Okay.
sure if it would work. Obviously, nobody knows, but I think
Yeah.
if
That's a
you
good
if
tip.
you were able to just keep it about where it's at and just keep jiggling it,
Okay.
I think eventually something will come eat it.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was going to say I'm going to revise it and just try something else because I think topwater there's an opportunity for topwater, maybe. What do you think?
I think
Throwing a
topwater, yeah,
frog?
but I think topwater would more depend on the time of day. I think if you went and
Okay.
threw something topwater in the morning, like dawn or dusk,
Okay.
but in the middle of the afternoon, it probably wouldn't come and hit it. But if you went early,
Mm-hmm.
like
Early or late
dusk
as it matters.
frogs, yeah, dusk frogs get active in the grass, and I think they start moving like out of the water
Mm.
when it gets towards dusk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you like casting near shorelines with a topwater, it doesn't even need to be a frog. It's just that that's where the bass is looking.
Gotcha.
So it's not necessarily that you have to match exactly what it's trying to eat. It's just that it's like, oh, I'm gonna be able to find a nice meal swimming along the,
Mm-hmm. The
the
bank.
banks of Lake Minnetonka. And then it just like, oh, there goes something that I can eat, and it just smashes it.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, definitely the lower light
Helps that
areas. Yeah, the
situation.
evening. I seem to have better success in the evening with the top water than I do
Okay.
in the middle of the day. Even
Okay.
when it's calm, sometimes the middle of the day doesn't work quite as well.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it won't, but in a high pressured situation, um, might be hard to get them to blow up on something.
Right.
But there's like little ducks and stuff there, aren't there?
Yeah. Yeah. They're all over town here. Yeah. Like all those little ponds have
Yeah,
ducks and geese on them. So
yeah.
I get what you're saying.
So if they want it bad enough and they're hungry and they think it's an easy meal,
Right.
you definitely got a shot at one of them smashing something.
Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm not scratching it at this point. There's still time.
Oh yeah, you got time. Especially when we get into these fall months when it starts getting colder.
Uh-huh.
Like fall can be harder fishing because of the fall turnover where you don't know exactly where the fish are going to be
Right.
in certain bodies of water, but you don't really have that problem on a pond.
Right.
And they start
Okay.
turning on the feed bag. Like they
Yeah, that's what I
they
thought you were
start
gonna say.
eating more. Yeah,
Yeah. Because they're trying to pack on the fat because they know winter's coming, right?
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they start eating some of the ones that were harder to catch. They seem to be almost like not as selective.
Mm.
You just get some in
Mm-hmm.
front of them, and they're like more likely to eat it in the fall
Right.
than they are other times of the year.
Bitching.
So yeah,
I got
you
hope.
definitely
I'm not
got.
gonna scratch it. Not by any means. I'm not gonna.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the Kyogre too, I'm just like I still got hope, and I don't know
Right.
anything about the dogfish, but that one's not out of the woods yet either. Like not completely over because my
Mm-hmm.
dad and my parents will be taking that boat out and the dock out eventually here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no saying that I couldn't just take my little boat up and go fish the lake that I know.
Mm. Yeah.
with my little boat.
Right.
If they're just like, oh, this week's gonna be like kind of chilly, but no wind, I'll be like, all right,
All right.
sounds good. All right.
Bitchin'.
Because that's I mean, the lake that I always fish is what the crappie video's on. So if you go check out the crappie
Right.
video, really FTV on YouTube.
That's right.
Real with two E's, like
Two
fishing
E's.
reel.
So
Yep.
you already answered no that to the early crappie spawn, right? Like we scratched that one already. Because you
Yeah,
were
that
saying
one got
early,
screwed up
almost
by the
like you said with
weather.
the live video, you like wanted to go somewhere in between ice out and almost like the live video time. You didn't say that exactly from my memory. I forgot to go back and review the goals,
Yeah,
like audio, but
dude, now thinking back on that right now is kind of crazy too, because we never had the ability because the weather didn't allow it. Our ice out didn't
oh shit,
happen
that's right.
until
I never thought about that.
yeah, our ice out didn't happen until it was like time to go fishing.
Yep, I
Like
remember that because
the fish.
we're sorry, I'm interrupting. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, it's fine. It was just super cold
It was.
until it was almost fishing opener, and then it was
Yep.
just hot. Like we just skipped that middle, that early fishing period. Like it just didn't exist. And
Right.
now thinking back on it is crazy because for us it was cold as hell, and it stayed way colder until way later.
Yep.
And then as a whole, like what, a couple of months ago we hit like the hottest day ever on Earth, like as a collectively.
Right.
It's like, what the hell
What the
was going on? So
hell?
we had like one of the coldest winters like for the longest period of time, and then they're just like, yeah, it's like a record, never been this hot collectively before ever.
Right.
Like,
Like
okay,
what?
I guess.
What
Weird.
the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
What the fuck? Okay. I'm gonna go to the next one from that because because you're talking about ice fishing or well, it went into
Oh
ice fishing. You
yeah.
got build confidence and ice fishing skills. Now that could have already happened in January, February, March, April.
Right. Right.
Because all you said was build confidence in your ice fishing skills. Doesn't even mean that you had to be ice fishing to do it. Shit, you could have saw, I don't know, a whole series of ice fishing videos this summer and went like, "Oh, I'm confident because I've already been doing all
Right.
that stuff." So like, what does
Yeah.
that mean? What does that goal mean to you now, and what does it mean as we check in here?
Well, I mean, it really means to just still get out there and really prove to
Mm-hmm.
myself that I'm on these fish,
Mm,
because I've built confidence in my techniques. I know that I'll be able to catch fish with the ways that I fish, because some of the techniques that you use during ice fishing season, I've kind of been able to use in the summer, but just like a faster version of it. You got to kind
mm-hmm.
of slow things down when it hits the winter and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm confident that I have an arsenal, and I'm confident that I have multiple techniques.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's really about just getting out there. So
Okay.
I haven't been able to check off that goal yet, because for me, it's like the confidence thing is really being able to put some fish on the ice, to really be able to
Okay.
catch the fish and say,
Sure.
not just that I do have more confidence. I am confident that
Sure.
I'll be able to get out there. I'm confident that I'll be able to find fish and catch fish. But
But
because
you
I'm
need that like
realistic,
sprinkle on top, and that sprinkle on
yeah,
top is getting a
yeah,
fish out of the hole.
because I'm realistic, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm an honest fisherman. I'm not out there just being like, "Oh, I'll catch them all." It's sometimes I do have overconfidence, where
Sure.
like
Okay.
even with the dogfish thing, I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna go out there because I'm about to break the state record, but uh but
Right.
it's sometimes that's like fun too, where I'm being
Right.
overconfident in like a way where
Like
it's
a
like, do I
braggadocious way on purpose to
yeah
like
yeah
entertain almost, or just to
yeah
like make some fun of it.
right, it's like, do I really think that I'm gonna break the state record? I don't know. I've seen some fish. I think there's a chance if I could actually get it to bite on my line and
Mm-hmm.
land this
Mm-hmm.
thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it, but with the ice fishing, um, realistically speaking, yeah, I've gained confidence, but I won't put a check mark on there until I'm
Mm,
able to just at least hold up one decent sized walleye or
mm,
whatever I'm having to go for and just be
right.
like, here it is.
Right.
Here's my proof that it's not all talk. Cause I don't want to say I know, that I have the confidence to do all this stuff
Hmm.
before I'm able to prove it to myself that I
Sure.
can actually do it. Cause I've
Hmm.
been out there,
Hmm.
I've caught some fish and stuff, but a lot of the things that I've learned over the past couple of years, I haven't been able to really put together because along with last year's crazy long cold winter, we also had a ridiculous amount of snow and it just made it way too hard for people to get out on the ice
Yeah, it really was a tough year for ice fishing.
consistently.
Yep.
Yeah, and this fall we have a trip planned, but after that I plan on getting some new tires, so that'll give me some more confidence to get out on
Mm,
the ice too. I
right.
hope to get something slightly more aggressive as far as the tread pattern goes, so I'll have the
Nice.
confidence to be able to go and if it does snow a couple of inches to just not be like, well, I don't want to get stuck. Just be like, I got brand new tires. Let's give it a shot.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I got two on here that are hopefully episodes, hopefully videos of some sort. And so I'm just going to bring them up at the same time. I got catfish fry and make a short video. Short video meaning, like not
Oh yeah.
not an episode. We wouldn't call it an
Right.
episode, right? We'd put it on shorts
Sure.
or we'd put it on IG Reels or something like that. Or
Exactly.
we would just launch it as like 2.5 minutes and it wouldn't be what we would call an episode. It might be a,
Sure.
short.
Yep.
I don't know. I was so confident going into that, going into this year with that set in mind because I have somebody nearby that that basically said, I think I got a hole right down here, bend of this river. I'm pretty sure we can get some catfish on it. And then
Mm.
summer hit and it ended up being us shopping for houses for the almost the entire
Yes,
thing.
yes.
And so extra trips, um, like we've seen these friends, but
Yeah.
not in long periods of time. And that, you need to
Right.
make a day of this because if I want to turn it into a fry. And so haven't got
Mm.
around to it yet. I don't think it's going to happen just based on the way summer is going so far, but I
Yeah.
don't want to check it off because there's a chance still. If I really if I find the right window, there's a chance.
Okay. Nice.
So, I'm going to keep it. But the other one was then pike. I want to make
Yeah.
pickled pike bites. Now that one, there's still time. Haven't even tried yet, but I would say short of having a day picked out, I already have plans to continue that journey. If you go find our other shorts, that was my first journey of trying to catch a pike. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, short of having a date, I'm confident in this one. So
Okay.
I yeah, I haven't tried yet, but I'm really holding this one as like I want that one. I want that one bad. That's the one I'm going to work. And that's the comparison between why I brought him up too is like that pike one. I am like
Yeah.
I'm holding it in high probability and I am checking I'm knocking down the catfish one. I'm knocking it down
Okay.
to like low probability. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But low probability doesn't mean it's over,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So,
Exactly. I don't want to write it.
hell
I'm
yeah.
not going to just check it off the list. That's for damn sure. Because I brought the walleye one now is back on up higher on my list of things because of what you said. So like I was ready to check that one
Uh,
off, And now you're
Yeah.
kind of like, whoa, hold on a second. And I'm
Hey,
like,
hold
oh,
on.
damn. So for my last one, just to go over it really quick, because we were talking about ice fishing and I didn't bring it up, but it just said go ice fishing again before the year's over. So the
Mm,
early ice fishing, I guess we would call it. I want to get out early ice fishing. So um,
yeah.
hopefully that will happen again.
Right. And that one, again, weather plays a big role,
Yep.
but definitely, yeah, I have a sled. I can just pull out
Hmm.
my stuff. So, yeah, I definitely want to get out there too.
Yep.
And then if we could like work it out that we could both go together, sweet. But whatever, if we got to go, divide and conquer and get the shit done, then
I
that's
see
what
a
we got to
lot
do.
of
But
hand crank augers just sitting on the side of the road right now, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I
yeah.
should grab it. Maybe I should grab it.
Dude, here's the deal, dude. I have a hand crank auger too. It's almost as much to buy replacement blades as it is to buy a whole brand new auger with new blades.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so that's why I looked into it. I'm like, should I buy replacement blades? And it's not that far off. And it's like, do I really want to put new blades on this old rusty piece of shit? Or should I just buy a whole new one?
Should I just
Because the
buy a new
prices
one?
aren't that far off. So,
Good to know. Very good to
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. And I think when it starts getting closer, they like to put those on sale too.
Mm.
Because they don't necessarily like go big sales on everything else, but it's something they can put in their flyer.
Oh, right.
Auger for this much money, and then people go like, "Oh, okay, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
I guess I don't really need that, but I'll buy all these other lures at full price." Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Uh, okay. Your last one, Tim.
Mhm.
Well, your last one, your last personal one, and then we'll jump into the real AFTV stuff quick here before the topic's over. Put more fishing footage in the can. I think we kind of covered that one a little bit. But what do you have to say?
We did.
What is the status? Do you have any in the can right now? I did
This
not.
one I failed miserably. I have not recorded anything
Shit.
because so I've been
Well, it's the
again.
same
It's
situation,
not.
right? Like
It's not.
you can't
Yeah.
mount it to your
Again,
dad's
it's
boat.
exactly.
It's hard
So
to
like I
film when there's
have
8 people
ways.
in the boat.
So there's been a couple of different things where I was like, we need to do this, we need to do that. And like I've come up with a couple of different ideas. And every time I have an idea, I'm set in my head that I'm gonna do this. And then the situation, like everything I had planned just doesn't work out. It's not what I should be doing or whatever. So then I
Just
end up
doesn't line up.
changing it up and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just doesn't line up. I literally have all my gear up there. All the batteries are charged. Everything's ready to roll. So it's not over yet. Like, I'm not,
Okay. Good.
the
Good.
summer's not 100% over yet. I was hoping with the Labor Day weekend that I can get everything up and then I can actually go out with the Kyogre so we can get two birds with one stone possibly. Like, if I get out there with the
Nice.
Kyogre, we can have some footage of the Kyogre. Plus, I use the Kyogre lure. So who knows? Um, but yeah, I still plan on going out there, but yeah, with my nephew all the time, he wants to go fishing, and it's a lot of I'm also trying to show him how to fish. I'm trying to learn. He's getting more and more into bass fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to teach him and stuff. And I suppose like some of that stuff, if he's cool with it, I could be, really uh I the problem is, again, this isn't an excuse. I just want to let people know like where we're coming from or like my mindset on how we're making these episodes and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to make episodes where there's entertainment value at the
Mm.
same time that it's not strictly just fishing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
totally been our goal from the beginning. Is like
yeah.
you gotta make learning fun, because just this droning of things is
Yeah.
boring. And then there's the other extreme end of like the YouTube overhyping every moment of the like sell it, sell it, sell it.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, we're not doing that. Like, even if it doesn't feed the algorithm, because we're not, no,
Right.
doing the like pull your set the hook so hard I fall off the back of the boat,
Yeah,
fake
or just
shit.
scream. Yeah.
Oh yeah, blowing out
There's
the
one I
mic,
saw the
my
other day
favorite.
where they had a rubber ducky that they glued feathers onto and put some hooks and stuff, and they just like, yeah, we'll see, and then they pop it a couple times and they catch it. And they're like, oh my god, no way, on the rubber ducky. And it's just like, I mean, a rubber ducky that you glued real feathers onto looks like a real duck.
Right. You
So
made a
now
duck lure. Those are
I
real
can't,
things too,
yeah,
right?
I can't believe that you acted like this is such a shock that you caught a fish. Like, it seems to be pretty. Actually, when I looked at their lure, I'm like, dude, that looks like something you could probably even sell almost. it's
It's
like
like
it's
that's
like
what you
a
should be hyped on, is that you made
yeah,
a good
it's like
fucking lure, not like,
exactly.
oh, I
Yeah,
got it
it's
back.
kind of like a right. It's like a crude, ugly version, but like you could definitely clean that up and not have it look like a rubber duck from the
Yeah.
top.
The fucking
All
alpha
the
version, dude. There's
yeah,
still there's still
yeah,
a beta that come after that before you
yeah.
launch an official. Like,
So, not to say that there won't be some hype moments. Like,
oh, right.
obviously, if I
No.
catch a new personal best, I almost like the funny thing is if we ever film it and you see me catch my personal best, I almost get quiet. That's how I
Yeah.
think most people should be. Not just like, oh my god, ah. I'm just like, I'll be reeling it, and I'm just like, oh, there's a fish. That's a good one. And as soon as I see it's big, I go, oh, it's a fucking monster. Oh my god, dude, look at this. And then when I land it, then it's just, and then I'm even like a silent, like, oh yes, like looking around if anybody else see it. I'm just like, like if anybody
Right.
even looks at me, they don't know. But I just almost, I feel like I'm almost to make eye contact with somebody like 300 feet away. I'm just like pointing in the net, like, oh, you see it,
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm like holding it up, trying to take selfies because I'm the only person. Just like, is anybody else seeing this? Look at this fucking giant fish. You seen that? It's giant. Yeah,
Giant.
what's up? Yeah. But
Awesome.
yeah, anyways, um the point that I was getting at was like there's definitely an episode to be made with, like lately I've been bringing my nephew out and we've been going and I'm
Mhm.
trying to let him, like, the high percentage things, like we're fishing for bass here, man. There's bass everywhere, and we're not going to try to, you know high percentage casts. When we go up and we're fishing docks, there's a lot of structure.
Mhm.
So like I'm having them cast out and I'm having them reel in, and I'm telling them like, make this cast, make that cast. You see where that meets that? Cast right there. And I'm trying to point everything out. You see how there's reeds that come
Mhm.
up over to that structure? It's
Mhm.
like we have reeds meeting that boat lift. Like that's a money spot. If you can cast and bring your lure right between those two pieces of structure,
Mhm.
like that's where we want to be and all this
Right.
other stuff. And then I'm trying to like let him know that like we eliminate dead space,
Oh, yeah. We talked about
hit
that
that
last time,
spot,
or
work it past some
recently.
of the structure. Once you get it past that structure, don't dick around with between the structure and the boat. Burn that shit in and cast it back to the structure again.
Yep.
So it's that kind of stuff where I'm trying to explain to him, what we're doing here, what we're trying to get at, what we're trying to get after, why we're
Yeah.
doing it,
I can
all
see
that
that as a
different
good
stuff. So
episode
there's
for sure.
yeah, so there's an episode to be had there, but at the same
But
time, like I want to be writing jokes. I like to
yeah, where's the entertainment
I
value
like
when you're, like,
I
trying to
like
seriously
yeah,
teach this
I'm
newcomer to a
right.
sport that you
Yeah,
love, you know?
right.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm very
hard, I
big
get
on
it.
analogies and stuff. So it's like I want to like throw out and try to like explain it. Like I think it's funny to think of it like a humor. Like it might be, you might have a couple of these things of what I just said, like makes a lot of sense, but you might not remember it later. Like, what did he say? If I tell you a good joke, they go, oh shit, that's right. He said it was like this,
Right,
where it's,
right.
and
Which we do on
I'll
the
put it out.
podcast all the time, for
We
sure,
do
like,
on
go
the
listen to the
podcast
backlog.
all the time, and I'll tell you one of them. Like this is just a little behind the scenes, just for fun here, because I because I had a new little part of it that hit my head before because I've told you about it, where it's just like I have this a video that I want to make of where it's like the bass spawning, and bass when they spawn oftentimes will not spawn close enough to another male where they can see them when they're on the bed.
Oh,
But
yeah.
sometimes they will spawn right next to each other if there's something, blocking the view of the other one, like a log. And I was just like, it's, think of it like taking a shit. If you're in a bathroom and there's no partitions, it's just like one toilet in an empty space, you're going to be like, you're taking a shit and another dude comes in and tries to take shit. You're like, hey, dude, get out. What are you doing? I'm in here pooping, dude. But if there's partitions, you can poop and there can be a guy come in and poop right next to you. I mean, you guys are feet away. You get that partition, like you're close enough to touch that dude.
Yep.
But as long as that thing is there blocking you so you can't see him while you're doing your business, it's completely fine.
Cool.
And then the part that I had that kind of adding onto this deal was just like, obviously there's outliers. That's not always the case. Sometimes you're going to have guys like Dave that'll stare you dead in the face, drop his trowel and shit at your feet. But we're not trying to catch the Daves in this world. We're out there trying to, put together a pattern and do, what should be a thing.
Right, what is an expected behavior? Dave?
Yes,
Dave doesn't have expected behaviors.
Dave's a wild card. That guy's out there just...
Oh, that's good. It's still a good joke. I've heard it once or twice. It's fucking funny.
So that's what we're talking about. Anyways, that's why I was just like,
nope,
so we've had, we've kind of had, a little bit of opportunity, but like what I ended up doing that day wasn't something I was necessarily prepared for.
Right. You weren't necessarily super stoked on filming it and stuff like that.
Exactly. And there have been times where I like got everything ready and out there and just completely, didn't have everything that I was supposed to. I don't need to get into the weeds of all like the technical stuff and all my equipment, but it was just like, if you haven't, the couple of times that I had a chance to get out there, like you think that you're ready. And then when you get out there, you're just like, oh shit, I'm missing this piece. And again, that comes with the whole like trying to set everything up every time I go out there.
Yeah. Yep. And it doesn't help that I'm not out there either, as the camera techie guy too. It's like, it would be nice to have like the producer camera guy out there with you. So that way you could focus on the fishing part of it. And then I could focus on getting the cameras and then start fishing, it would be a better setup that way.
Sure. Yep. But again, hopefully, in theory, everything should be getting much better soon. And that's my,
teaser.
I don't know if I can really set that as a goal, but it's just like,
well, but we can save it for,
my goal is to make everything better sooner.
We only got a few months until we got to do our 2024 one. So like, I don't know, think about it a little bit, but okay. We're going to wrap up quick by going over the Real AF TV. Tim's home studio, more than podcasting. We are not there. I did not go up to Tim's place. I did not help him.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I'll hit you with real quick
on it too.
Well, it's not just you, but it's like you barely played a role in this. I know you were going to come and help, but it's 100% on me and just not having the funds at the moment to be able to get out in the backyard and redo my patio, because patio and gutters is step one, so it doesn't flood in the basement onto the new carpet. I know
there's an unexpected when we made these goals, there was unexpected home repairs that came as a result of you trying to get the studio set up.
Because I thought it was like, oh, I just need to replace all my carpet. And then I realized like, oh, my basement floods when it rains a lot. And then Mother Nature went and made me look like a dick. I'm like, I can't do that because it's going to rain and it's going to flood. And then it just didn't rain. the whole fucking
The whole
summer.
We just finally started getting rain again here in the
Yeah.
middle, late half of August.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
It's
yeah,
really fucking crazy.
I've been weighing, that's another thing. I've been weighing a couple of different options for the patio, and I just really need to redo the patio, slant it away from the house to make sure that I got gutters back there. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like or like a catch-22 almost, like where it's, not catch-22, but whatever. It's like I got to finish both things before
Not
I
just
can do
one.
this other thing.
Right.
And because both of those things cost money, and I spent money on carpet already, which I can't put in yet.
Right.
And I'm just crossing my fingers that critters aren't fucking with it, because it's just a carpet roll in my garage now.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just like, if I unroll it and there's a goddamn, but luckily
Raccoon
I
living
think
in
as
there.
long as they don't, as long as they're not eating it and stuff, it should just be like the inside tube.
Right.
Wherever it's at. So
Yep.
maybe there's just a one small part that's
That you can cut off
affected by
and not have to worry
animals.
about it. Right.
Yeah, but I don't. The one end's completely wrapped up, and the other end's not. I should probably just.
Bring
It
out the
literally
saran
just
wrap,
hit
dude.
me. I should go get a fucking towel and just plug the hole. I don't know why I didn't think
maybe
about
that
that
would
till
work.
just now.
But
Just go plug it with
mice are
something.
small though, so they would go in anywhere. Like the hole isn't the part of
Oh
a
yeah,
mouse.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And anybody who thinks that you're not living with mice, you're a big fucking liar, and you're naive to how mice live.
Oh, they're everywhere, dude.
They're
Yeah,
everywhere. They are just
it's
everywhere.
crazy.
Now, I'm not saying that.
You-
I'm not saying that there's any infestation, that people have infestations or anything like that. But if you have a fly in your house, you've had a mouse in your house.
Yeah. In the mouse. Mouse in the house. Rasta mouse.
Because I just wanted to make it clear that I don't think that you live in like a dirty place that's full of mice. It's
no. It's they can get into the garage. They have ways of getting into the garage, but
right.
I don't know exactly where or how, but I've just seen some like mouse turds outside.
Yeah.
So I know that they've been able to get into the garage, but I've also set up mouse traps and not found anything. And I've set up mouse traps with like multiple different like food sources and stuff. So I'm not too nervous about it, but I've also
because it's not like
them,
a big deal. Again, they're not. It's not an infestation. You just like They're there,
and I've also
they're there somewhere.
Them,
trust me.
Yeah. Oh, I've witnessed them firsthand in the backyard. One time I woke up to pee at like 2 a.m. and I look out the window just because I don't know. I didn't really have a reason to, and there's just a stray cat fucking up a mouse. Just like, oh, look at that.
Check that out, dude.
That's kind of crazy.
That's how I know to hear similar situations is I've got a dog that hunts rodents.
Ah, yes.
And so he's caught different. He hasn't caught them, but he's chased different things, obviously the rabbits and the squirrels, but then there's been like gophers, mice, these things he's chased before. And it's just like, we live amongst them. So they've burrowed in when it's cold somewhere, somehow. And I'm just being realistic. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow, some way they're able to make it work. Yeah.
Okay, back to the goals quick.
Yep.
Firing them off. Launch into short form videos. Bam. We got one. But that brings us to my next one. Put up 26 good photos or short videos. Well, we got one. I have no idea. We have 0 photos. I put up a couple photos. I wouldn't call them good photos, though.
Yeah.
And then
you know what though? I'll put it down.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like weird timestamps. But for sure, I'll be able to put some stuff up. Like we're talking about that, like king mackerel. I'll put up some other photos and stuff on Instagram for sure. Like
nice.
I know we talked about it for whatever reason. I just haven't got to it. And another reason is just been like because of what we were talking about with having other people all the time. Like the couple of times I've been able to get up by myself is when I've had success, and those are the times where I just like have selfie photos. I haven't really had people around to just be like, hey, snap this photo.
Gotcha.
Another reason, if we had the cameras up, where we'd be able to take stills.
Right. Yep.
Just, oh man.
Yeah. Because I grabbed a couple stills out of that crappie video that I really liked. I don't know if we posted them. We could count those.
Yeah.
Anyways, look through
I
our.
got
Maybe
pics.
I'll go scroll through our Instagram and check it out.
Yeah, I got pics, and I got coming up in the second half here.
Okay,
I
kick
I'll
ass.
tell you about a pic.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the last one I got is Shopify. Shopify. God damn it.
Shopify.
Shopify and Spotify. I get them mixed up all the time. Spotify video. I actually, again, I'll just say it. I put this as I know how. We'll see. Like I know where the tutorial is. I know that what we have to
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
I need to go in and recheck the Spotify stats again. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, please again, realaf.tv/contact. Let us know. Hey, I would watch the video there. Okay. Because though Spotify has a decent crowd of like we have an okay audience there that seems to be listening to it loyally. We have to do extra work to get the video up, and it's not a small amount of work necessarily. And I'm just like, I don't want to do it because I have this system streamlined right now. So I would like the feedback from the community to push us that way. I'm checking it off at this point, just going, nah, I just don't
Right.
want to do it. I know how to. I know that we could. I know we'd be probably one of a few podcasts on there, but it just seems like such a audio focused medium that
Right.
I'm just not willing to put in that extra effort right now when YouTube is doing just fine.
Yeah. And we should say currently. It's so audio focused currently,
Sure.
just to
as we
lay it out there that maybe stuff will change in the future. Not saying I'm not trying to hint at anything. I'm just saying like we have tossed around the idea of maybe changing stuff up, and who knows what that means for the future. But currently, yeah, it definitely makes sense to not go that route
right
now.
Yeah, for the format.
So depending on when,
sure.
So depending, I just want to throw that out there. Depending on, if there's a listener when you might hear this, I don't know. Maybe it's 2 years down the road you stumble upon this episode, and then things have changed. So
right, like you're going through the backlog, and you're like, we've already watched like a year's worth of Real AF TV on Spotify. And you go,
right.
Yeah. So that was that. This is as we're recording this, 2023 goals. I'm checking it off the list of as I'm scratching it off the list, not checking it. I'm scratching it off the list of like
chicken check.
It's not one of our things that like is coming up here in a few weeks in September,
right?
Where we're gonna, there will be some things that in September we're gonna, hey, check it out. That is not one of them. I'm just scratch. Done.
Right. and there have been a couple of episodes that have been more video oriented.
Yes.
But those definitely you can come and check out on YouTube, which actually reminds me of that
we
jig.
forgot to do a housekeeping. I had it down on my list too, Tim. I'm sorry. It's the first bullet point. Quick housekeeping at the end, man.
Yeah, I saw that you had it. So yeah, just quick housekeeping. When we were talking about jigs last week, the only thing I wanted to, that I realized that I missed that I think would be very helpful for somebody that's thinking about like which jig you should buy and stuff. If you plan on using live bait, those jigs are typically different than the normal ones where they don't have
a live bait jig is a different kind of jig.
Yeah, for the most part, where it's like there's no bait keeper like this. This one has the tinsel, and this is like an old rusty hook, but there's no bait keeper here. And like this one, a lot of times people will put a minnow on that style. But I had some, I forgot to grab one, but they actually like it'll just be the jig head with the hook coming off of it, and a lot of times the shanks are even shorter on the hook. Like a good just because you don't want like a big long piece of metal. It like makes it look way awkward.
Oh,
because you're hooking the
yep.
minnow through the head most of the time, or
Right.
whatever it
Okay.
happens to be that you have live bait on there. So it
Yep.
just makes more sense to have the hook. It it almost always too, like even if you put like a worm or like a leech,
Mm-hmm.
it likes to like slide along that shank unless you were to have like a hook that had some barbs on it. And they don't really ever have that on a jig head. You know,
Yeah.
there are some hooks that have like little barbs that keep like a worm if you're fishing, pan fishing, you're putting a worm on there.
Okay.
But they don't have that on a jig. So for the most part, like a very good example that I know right off the bat, if anybody wants to go and see it, if you Google it or you just want to go and look at it at your local bait shop,
Mm-hmm.
the Callan's Rattling Eye jig head. There is
Okay.
one that's made, it's the exact same jig head. There is one that's made for like soft plastic, and then there's one that's made for live bait.
Oh.
And you can clearly see that the soft plastic one has a bait keeper and the shank is longer on the hook,
Okay.
where you have like jig head and there's like an inch long shank before the bend comes in.
Yeah.
And on the live bait one, there's almost no shank whatsoever. It just kind of like curls up
Into a
almost
hook, like almost
immediately. And
immediately.
there's no bait keeper on it. It's the exact same jig head,
Sure.
but the hook style is different.
They like literally one's called the, I don't know, artificial, and one's called the live. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like you said, I don't know if it's called artificial, but I think the one is like a short shank, like live bait one. But
yeah,
yeah,
short shank implies it's live. Yep.
it's definitely, there's definitely a difference in the two.
Sure.
And now that I'm saying it, I was just going to quick Google it, but,
That's okay.
is
You
that,
get it. You did a good job.
what we're ending on? Was there
Yeah.
anything else in housekeeping?
No. I mean, there was nothing else that I wanted to. Everything else I mentioned during the housekeeping segment, I just forgot that one. I looked right
Okay.
over it.
Okay.
Unless you had something else that I forgot about totally.
Uh-uh.
Okay, then let's
No,
do
here,
it. Let's
I'll
jump.
show you. If
Oh, you
anybody's
got some.
watching
So
this real
anybody
quick,
watching on YouTube?
there's a picture. See how long that shank is?
Yeah.
And like right there, there's a little bait keeper.
Yep.
So that, and there's like that shank itself is like or like it's like a painted, there's like a bait keeper on the back, that
Yep.
little metal barb, and then there's a little nub here.
On the painted part still of
Yeah.
the weight essentially.
Yep. And if you get the live bait one, it gets rid of both of those.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yep.
Short. Oh,
No, that'll bring it to it. Yeah,
short
that's a better
shank.
one. Yep.
There's no nub here. That's still painted.
Yeah.
But there's no bait keeper.
And it's like the hook. It's like a perfect U almost. The hook is like a U, where it's the same length on both sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So that's the only thing, is like that's not the only one. That's just off the top of my head. Like,
but that's the perfect example.
Perfect example.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's a perfect example.
So that was one thing that I forgot. Like you can use both for both, but they're not designed for that, like
Sure.
you could put a soft plastic on the live bait one, but it's not going to hold it there as well. And you could put a minnow on the other one, but then you kind of have awkward like hook keepers with a long shank, and it just looks less natural.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. They're just not designed to be used like that. You can get away with it, but just, if you're trying to buy proper and use the right stuff, that's
right.
That's how it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hell yeah. We got into the summer break a little bit there, but I know that we got more to share in the random take. So there's going to be a lot of fishing in the random take on this one too, from Tim's end for sure.
Yeah.
I have some things, but yeah, that's a fishing topic that is good way to end it, even though that was supposed to be earlier. But I'm glad it made it in here because now the people who listen on Friday are going, or the people who listen to it on Wednesday on the off week are going to get that too. They're tucked in at the end. Wanted to let that one out there more in the wild. So anyways, let's hit the break.
Yeah.
Here we are, patreon.com/realaftv. That's right, patreon.com/realaftv, real like fish and reel. We are on Patreon, and we are coming to tell you, and by we, I mean me and Tim, Real AFTV podcast here, coming to you to say we have a Patreon as low as $1 a month, but hey, you could go up to $100 if you really wanted to get crazy with it. It's there. Go over to our website, realaf.tv. You can find the Patreon link right there, or go to Patreon and look us up, Real AFTV, Real Like Fish and Reel. And we have things like, for $50 a month, we will customize, what kind of tackle is it, Tim? We have some in the warehouse right now that we haven't actually ran out.
A lure. Yes.
A lure, thank you.
Is a crankbait.
Crankbait.
Yes, we will customize a crankbait for you.
At the $50 tier. Also, Patreon, if you're new to the whole Patreon thing, if you're on a podcast, you're probably not that new to it, but Patreon is something that you can jump in and out of. Like if you do $50 this month, bam, you get the custom lure, but you don't want to do that for the whole year. You jump down to the $5 a month tier where you're going to get early access content. You can help vote on the random take, one of the random takes for the month. And, we'll keep up with you on Patreon as well. Like just a direct Patreon contact. There's communication you do only through Patreon. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're new, there's just a little intro to it.
Yeah. And to clarify that custom painted lure is a fully custom painted lure, like the pattern and everything. That won't be just something that we have a lure that we just like write Real AFTV out.
Yes, thank you, Tim. Thank you for clearing that up, because yes, it's a slug, for lack of a better word, right now, and it will be turned into something.
Right.
I'm not good at the whole fishing lingo, so maybe Tim, you could evaluate on that a little, or like elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now it has no color, and I will give it color.
There we go.
It will look like a bait fish imitation of some sort. It might not be exactly colored. It might not be realistic. Some of that stuff out there that the different companies work with makes different stuff, but it will be a custom painted lure, and it won't look like dog shit. Because not to be too full of myself, but I have some talent.
You have some artistic talent. Yes. Yeah, very true. If you know friends and family and stuff like that got a few bucks to kick our way, let them know. realaf.tv. Scroll down a little bit. There's the Patreon link. It'll shoot you right over. Sign up for a little bit.
Yeah.
How's it going, friends and family? Welcome back to the Real AFTV podcast show about fishing random takes from the land 10,000 lakes. I typically do a quick intro like that because this is a second half to a larger podcast. If you're listening to this on Friday, thank you. You must have found us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and then check it out. Like, there's one big thing of this. It's like 2 hours or something like that. Not just the short little takes. But anyways, summertime. We are going to talk about our breaks that we took.
Your fucking mouth. Oh, is it? I heard. Was that wrong? Am I not supposed to swear like at the beginning of the YouTube video?
Oh, it was I don't quiet. Give a fuck about that, because there's two reasons. One, if you're here, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We need more subscribers so we can actually do something more with the channel.
Right.
So no, right now it doesn't fucking matter. But
that's right.
Also, fuck that. We're gonna talk however we want.
And
if the algorithm doesn't want to bump it up because of that,
swear right away. Like, I'm allowed to swear as much as I want later in the video, but if I swear right away, then it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like the AI only listens to the first couple of seconds, and then they're just like, whatever.
Right. Yeah. You can get
The
into the
teacher's out of the
logistics, but I
room
don't
now.
want to because
Right.
I totally get why. And it's whatever. So yeah,
Sure.
fuck that. We're going to do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Okay. So we actually took breaks this. I don't know if the audience noticed or if we said it enough or whatever, but the podcast didn't take a break. We kept on schedule with the podcast.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of shifting around of the schedule of our schedules this summer in order to keep the podcast on because there's been breaks that we've taken.
If there was any topical stuff that we touched on, where I think like the iCast may have came out like 2 weeks after iCast happened, late. That kind of stuff. Sure. Yeah, where it wasn't quite on point, and that's because we were hopping around, kind of recording when we could. So we recorded the iCast one like right when iCast happened.
Yeah, we were like days behind it, but because of the schedule and scheduling, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of stuff. Like if you've noticed any of that, that's what was happening.
Yeah.
Not us just being like, oh, whatever, we'll do it 3 weeks late. No, we did it on time. It just the way the episodes were released, it's just how it happened.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I went to Montana. And so we had to schedule around that because that was big. I didn't know if I was going to have internet in order to drop it. So we had to record it and schedule it right away.
Sure.
Like I couldn't edit on the road or anything like that because, who knows where you're going to get internet. And at the size of the podcast, you have to have a good size internet connection. You can't depend on some shitty hotel internet that's like, spotty.
Right.
And I can't use my data connection on my phone because even though I have unlimited data, there's a speed cap on it.
Right.
And it's like, I would rather have Google Maps load quickly while I'm on this road trip instead of, burning it all on uploading the podcast.
Yeah. So, and who's to say that you'd even have service to use that?
It's true. Yeah. I mean, out there in Montana, it was mostly interstate, but yeah, it's very true. There's still just spots of it where you just nothing to.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm supposing that there's not a lot of cell phone towers out in the mountains.
No, we had no service and no internet actually where we ended up staying.
Damn, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a nice getaway though.
Yeah. It was pretty nice. I played Zelda in the woods.
Disconnected from the world. It was fun. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, because I remember I did try to send you a message one of those days.
You did.
And it was like, can't go through. And it was because you didn't have service. And we were just like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I remember because I got quite a few. It still took a while. Once we got down, it still took a while down the mountain until we got service. And then I got quite a few things in.
Nice.
But yeah, I remember talking to you like a couple days later, a text that was clearly from a few days ago because I got it at it was like a Zelda text at like 2:30 on a Monday. And I'm like, I know, right. Like I know the general area that he's in. It's definitely not a brand new text.
Right. Yeah. Now I remember too. Yeah. Cause I was definitely like, hey, when you get to this place, do this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. So what was that like? Did you get to spend any time to yourself? I know you went down there for a wedding.
Right. And
did you
and a first time road trip.
Oh,
the only other time we went on a road trip was when we took our families down to the Bassmaster
to Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. Yep. So that was our true first road trip, which was like I think that was like 5-6 hour road trip or something like that. 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So decent.
Right.
But this was 14 total.
14, dude. Yeah. That's a long haul. I know we're We are road tripping it to Florida in October.
Oh
So
shit, you are?
hell yeah, dude. My
Nice.
son, like, he might not like the road trip, but that dude wants to see the beach so bad. So it's like, dude, this is what we gotta do. And we are gonna stop once, but it's gonna be your road trip one day, plus like another 8 the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
So we
So
split the 14 into 2 stops.
did you?
We did. We
I
had to.
plan
Like,
on
oof, we
my
had to.
plan is to get done with work on Thursday, and I told my wife, I'm just like, you guys eat on your own, because I'm gonna eat on my drive home from work.
Yep.
I'm gonna take some friggin' melatonin. I'm gonna pass out as soon as I can, and then I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to get up very early. We're gonna have everything loaded,
Yep.
and just like, I'm gonna get up early, and so are you guys. But then you can go back to
But
sleep
you
in the
guys can go
car,
back sleep in the car, and you're
because
gonna
that's
drive.
gonna help. That's gonna help him a lot
Yep.
if he can sleep for like the first 3 hours.
Yep.
And I might have to look into like a head strap or something, because I don't want him like for
Yeah, you're
'cause some of the
that
times
one's
I'm
just
just like,
that's for all the parents out there. You know what Tim did with his head there. If
yeah,
you were
they
just
just
listening to
like,
the podcast, otherwise go
yeah,
look at the video. Because
chins
I know.
chins chin to chest. And it's just like, is that, I heard, start getting in your own head, like, just like, well, you know, believe what you will about Jesus being real or not, but I heard that he actually died from asphyxiation because his arms were up and his chin was down. And it wasn't blood loss. That dude just couldn't breathe because his chin was to his chest, but I think his arms were up.
That's
And my
also a starving person though. Like someone with
right,
muscle and like
right,
in good neck health, they're gonna be okay.
right. Yeah,
He'll be all right.
I would hope so. I'm not too nervous about it, but it's like, I would like to, is there some sort of a thing that I could just somehow keep his head up?
I would.
Is there like
So
a suction cup?
this is the stupidest thing, but I was thinking of like one of those really long suction cup arrows that has like the suction cup on both sides though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like he's got a DVD player in front of him, stick it to that, and then it just 3 feet across the back of the car or truck, stick to his forehead.
Dude, now I'm thinking of like, you ever seen those old school like cartoony arrows where it's like an arrow, but then there's like a headband, and then like the other
the headband arrow that you put on
I
your
put that on like front to back, and then like just attach the back, so he's like leaning like this, and then anybody driving by just sees this lifeless body with an arrow through its head, like, oh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Just be like, I'd be fucked until I got to Florida. And then once I was in Florida, if he's sleeping like that, GB would just be like, it's another day in Florida.
Yep. Just wave it off. No big deal here.
Yep. Hey, whatever, man.
You might want to look into like a child-sized travel pillow though, like one of those neck pillows, dude.
Oh yeah, we got
wonder-
a Mickey Mouse one, but it doesn't help keep his head up,
It doesn't?
Like no, because he's like sitting. He always falls forward.
Oh,
like
he goes. He's a straight chin to chest,
Yeah.
like no doubt.
Yeah.
Straight up and down.
So I wonder if there was like, if it wrapped around a little bit more. Like the one he
Yeah.
has doesn't wrap all the way around. It's kind of in the back, so it's like a nice, like
Yep.
if he puts his head back, but he always falls.
Yeah, it keeps your
forward.
neck nice and supported. So like if you can hit a backrest, it's got support, and if you
Yeah.
if you can lean your head left or right, it's a pillow on your shoulder.
Right.
But you're saying, yeah, he's just a straightforward.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's something we could get with that. But that's a topic for a different time. That's the road trip we plan on doing, so.
Yeah. Well, it's all related because that's like we stacked it. And that's the thing is like, so we did two parts. We got to like the edge of the mountains. So we drove from, like central Minnesota all the way
Yeah.
through North Dakota, all the
Uh-huh.
way through Montana, and then we stopped in like the last big city before you head into the mountains, which is still a ways out. It's not like when we're staying there, you can see the mountains. No, no,
Sure.
no. It's just once you start driving, the plains get rolly. There's still a
Ah,
lot of
yes.
farmland and a lot of cattle and all this other stuff, but things just start to roll.
Sure.
And so
Yeah,
you have
it's
to
just
go
not
through all
flat
that.
forever.
Say that again?
Yeah. I just said it's just not flat forever.
Right. Yeah,
Now
yeah.
you're starting to get a little bit more to look at, which is still
Right.
cool, you know? Like,
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful
yeah.
driving. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the driving. It's like loved the driving atmosphere of it and everything. But we pushed we pushed too hard for my daughter a couple times. She
Oh,
was
really?
fine and she did great. Like I couldn't ask for more from her, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But the last 10 minutes of our way into the mountains, she was
Yeah.
just freaking out, pretending she had to pee so we would stop. And then she
Yeah.
wouldn't go because she's potty trained for peeing.
Right.
So she didn't want to go in a diaper. So
Yes.
we take her out. She went pee. We said, "Can we put you in a diaper for the last little bit?" No, I don't. No pee in my undies. No pee in my diaper. No. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. And we drive 10 minutes and she's freaking out. I have to pee. I have to pee. You just went pee. It was totally your typical like road trip kid thing, except for she was
Right.
using it because she was uncomfortable. She didn't want to be sitting anymore.
Right. Just stop the fucking car.
Yeah, that's
You know?
exactly what she was saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's just so much to it. Now I know you have a 5-year-old and it's different, but like you have to get to this point where they're little kids, like that's the
Yeah.
connection. And that's why it was mostly a road trip for us. We didn't really chill. I chilled for one day while the girls got ready for the wedding. And I
Yeah.
chilled out on the balcony. I just had a nice day in the sun, Zelda, and a
Yeah.
Pepsi. Like that was it. It was
Nice,
great. But it
dude.
was only for like
Yeah.
2-3 hours. Then I had to get
Right.
ready for the wedding too.
Sure.
So
I get it. Yeah, it's like it was a road trip, but it was like a road trip with purpose.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had
Where
very much in like timelines and intent.
yeah,
Yeah.
where we have finally hit the point of having enough time saved up where we can actually just take some time off to do not much.
Right.
Cuz
That's bitching.
I mean COVID hit and my son was old enough that he was in daycare and it was just zapped us of
Yeah.
all of our time, and we've been playing catch up until now,
Right.
really, where
Right.
it's just like all of our vacation time was gone,
Right.
and we've been just trying to get it to a point where we had enough saved up where it's not, we learned from COVID that it was like we can't have nothing. We have to have,
Right.
be able to go on our trips and have some stuff to fall back on
Right.
in case they start doing, well, there's a person was sick in a room that your son was in shortly after or whatever. And you're just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
now I got to have him home for fucking 4 days
Right.
or whatever and
Yep.
test him and make sure he didn't get anything. Like that
Mhm.
shit was crazy. So we were at home constantly. So obviously everybody knows about that shit, but it was like, it happened so many times at our daycare
Right. That it
that
taught you
all the,
like you got to bank some. You can't just get
yeah,
40 hours and go on a week-long
yeah. And
vacation. You
not,
got to bank something on top
right.
of it. Yeah.
And not just learning that, but we legitimately had no time left. We were down
Yeah.
to nothing.
Yeah, like you guys
So
burned
it
down to
was,
zero. So I remember
yeah,
that.
it
I was
was,
like, fuck.
it was
Yeah.
both. So it's like we need to gain it back and then some
Right.
before we're set up. So we took a week off for our little summer break, and then we got another week off here in October.
Nice.
So yeah,
Fuck yeah.
but our break consisted of just spending a week at the cabin, and then
That's
it ended up being
sounds awesome.
the hottest days of
Right.
the year.
Like you just said in the fishing topic, like it was seriously. Did you guys hit 100 up there? We did down here.
I think it was close.
Okay.
The heat index was over 100 for sure, but I
Right.
don't know if it actually ever registered 100.
Okay.
But those couple of days were pretty gnarly because we sleep in the second floor of an unair conditioned cabin.
Yep. It's on the
So
lake.
we're
I mean,
just
like
like,
it,
yeah,
it's a minimal living situation on a lake for a
right.
reason. It's a cabin.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're just like, just underwear, fan on full blast right on you, just like, oh shit. And just like, so you're just not sleeping well from the night before, just waking up. And yeah, it was, I'm, I'm not complaining. I was still on vacation and stuff, but it
Right. Right.
sucked that happened to be, I had all these plans to be, progressive and get shit done or productive, not progressive, productive.
Yep.
And then just the heat hits and you're just like, ugh,
You're like, I'm on vacation. No way,
we're gonna
dude.
be we're gonna be in the lake all day. That's what we're doing today.
Yep. We're floating.
That
We're floating this
just
day
that's
out.
it. We'll get out every once in a while to do our best to dry off so we can reapply sunscreen. But you're sweating so bad, you're like, I can't even really put the
Like,
sunscreen
what's
on.
the
I can just
point? The
get,
sunscreen is just sweating off too.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so it was pretty gnarly. Ended up going into town to get Dairy Queen the one day because we're like, yes. And then we walk in, Dairy Queen's got AC on.
Right.
And just like, oh, it's cold on the outside and it's cold on the inside. Yeah. So that was nice because that was a humid heat too, man. That was
It was,
a
yeah,
sticky.
because that's what you said about the heat index being
Yeah,
over 100, even though we didn't register it. I mean, it was like 105 on some days, and it was like 97
yeah.
degrees
I think
air temperature.
that's what we hit. I know it was like 98 real temp when I looked, in like 105 heat index for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
I don't know if it got to 100, but we were right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was nasty. But I was
Yeah.
out there and I had all that time and I brought my smoker up.
Oh, nice.
Uh yeah, so I smoked ribs one day and I
Fuck yeah.
smoked I made beer can chicken in the
Oh, dude, that's
smoker.
on my goal of things to do, like my personal
Hell
just list of things to
yeah.
barbecue and stuff. We're gonna
Yeah.
have to bring that topic up later here as summer
Yeah,
winds
yeah.
down.
It worked out. It was real good
Yeah.
stuff. I definitely
Did you leave
learned a
the beer
couple
in
of
it? Like,
things.
did you really do it like pop the top and leave the beer in
Oh
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
we have two different holders because we used to do it on the grill, and my parents got rid of the big grill for whatever reason.
No.
It used to work perfect, but I think they just wanted to save some space. But I brought the smoker up, so it just made the beer can chicken with the actual beer can in them
Fuck
with the
yeah.
moisture and whatnot, and yeah, just um seasoned them up nice and put them in there and
Yeah, dude.
smoked them for whatever it happened to be, like 3 hours or whatever. I had a couple of other plans that kind of fell through. I wanted to make a couple of baked potatoes in there.
In the smoker?
Yeah, in the smoker. There's
Whoa.
recipes to make smoked baked potatoes, but it takes like 4 to 6 hours or some shit.
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot. And when I remembered, I was like, oh damn, I was supposed to start those
Yeah.
before the chicken. And just like, well, I guess we'll do something different with the potatoes.
Yep.
So yeah, the smoker's still up there. I still have some plans. I think over Labor Day weekend, I'm going to get a pork butt,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a roast, and it's actually the shoulder, I believe.
It is.
And I saw a video of where you can like butterfly, like cut it in half and butterfly it,
Oh.
and it looks just like baby back ribs, but they're completely boneless.
Oh.
Yeah, and then
Dude.
you can like, and then I saw that they took that and they like sliced it up and put that on a sandwich. And I
McRib,
was like,
dude.
hell yeah. Except for it's like real,
But
like
it's
sliced
real.
smoked pork. Like, ooh, man, I'm ready to try that on
Hell
Labor Day weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, boy, yeah. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm going to get some of that pork. Yeah. Mm.
Fucking snap
But
a picture of that. That can be one of our 26 photos or videos that we've been trying to get up here on the channel
right.
for this year.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about taking a picture of anything that I was making. I should have. I should have
You
been
should get
doing
these
that.
ribs
Damn,
on there.
dude. Dude, I feel like honestly,
Here's the rich man's
I've
McRib.
I've I've mentioned it to you, but like I have ADD and I feel like I honestly want to get on some meds because it's not necessarily just the ADD, but I think long COVID is a thing. And I feel like I've been in a fog that I have not been able to get out of for
Shit.
who knows how long, where I just don't even think of stuff where I'm just like, oh, obviously, duh. Why am I not taking pictures of things? Shit, dude. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I got, oh, yeah, I got some stuff to put on Instagram. And there's a random one where I caught a, a perch fry on my jig and wrap.
How in the hell?
It's like an inch long, dude. It could have been a walleye. I don't know. It looks like a perch because it's got the little lines, but it's stabbed like that. It's dead
It's dead.
because it got speared through the side with what for it was just a massive metal rod. Just
For the
douche.
size of your hook and the size of the baby fish
Yep.
were
Right.
it,
Yeah,
it
but
might
don't
as well have
feel.
just had a flagpole rammed through its side of its head.
Yeah, don't feel too bad. I know sometimes there's those bleeding hearts out there that are just like, I can't believe you killed that fish. Hey, you know what? I caught some perch. You know what I found in its stomach? Smaller perch. They're out there eating each other. Stop being
Cannibals.
so like, oh, what the cannibals? They get a little bit hungry. They see a smaller version of themselves and they just swallow it whole. And that fish that gets swallowed whole does not die immediately. It takes a little while. It's not a
Yeah,
necessarily painless death.
right.
Mine, I
Did you send me
impaled the
that
thing
video,
and
that
it's
pike with the fat belly on it? There's no way. Did
oh
I not? Okay, I might have seen this on shorts then. This is fucked up because I don't know how to share them with you.
okay.
Dude, because you said it doesn't die right away. So they go, they got this pike with just this big old gut on it and they're squeezing it
Yeah.
and they're pushing it and they're like, oh yeah, there's something in there. So we're just going to cut into the belly right away and we're going to see what's in there. He goes, don't know what's in there, but I got a guess. And it's probably of the shelled variety. And so they squeeze it. Okay. Yep. Here it is. And he just takes the flay knife and, 2-3 cuts in it, gets
Mhm.
through the skin into the belly, cuts it out. Out comes a bluegill. Whoa, that is a big bluegill. Flop, 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 flop. That bluegill
Still
was
alive?
still alive, dude, and it went nuts
Hell
on the
yeah.
table.
Yeah. See that? They swallowed and that thing was not dead. It takes a while.
And it
He's
was a
just
good
in there.
sized bluegill too, dude.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. That's
it
crazy.
was
See, that's what I'm
nuts.
talking about. I impaled that one. His game just game over immediately. Just done.
Right.
Yeah. So that was crazy. But anyways, back to okay, because I teased it a little bit in the other half. So we got to get back to talking about two things. I'll talk about fishing and what actually was happening out there and what I went down on. So like what I went down on, that sounded weird. Whoops. Anyways, I'm out there fishing, right? 4th of July, I went out and I caught my biggest walleye ever, new personal best. It
Yep.
was a 26 incher.
Yep.
That's like a 6.5 pound walleye. So that's a big walleye. That's one of the biggest fish I've ever caught. I've
Wow.
caught pike bigger than that by a little bit, and I've caught muskies that
Right.
are way bigger than that.
Right.
But I've never caught a bass that's 6.5 pounds. So
Right.
that's it's one of the biggest fish. But so I didn't bring up where I caught it at first because I didn't know if it was a fluke or not. I didn't want to just be like, hey, isn't this weird? Because I
Okay.
had a theory and I
Okay.
really got to dig into this theory.
Okay.
So in the middle of summer, the water gets warm and we're talking hot, it was hot that
Okay.
whole week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was hot during the 4th of July
It was.
and people are out there fishing deep water. They're going real deep. They're like, the walleyes go even deeper when it gets hot like this.
Okay.
They're retreating out deeper and stuff. And I was just like, I've been fishing the weed edge. That's kind of where I'm comfortable. I'm doing
This is on the
stuff.
4th, right?
This is on the 4th and
Oh.
this last
Okay.
when I had the week off,
Okay.
because I wanted to really see, like,
Oh,
okay,
gotcha.
I was able to do this with the personal best. Was that a fluke?
Mhm.
Was that big fish there and nobody's ever caught it because that big fish is just where you weren't expecting it,
Mm.
or what?
Mhm.
I caught that big fish in like 12 to 13 feet of water in the weeds.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, you
And
teased this. You're right. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so
So everyone's
12
out
to
there in
13,
20-25 feet or some shit.
everybody's out there, and like I was catching small walleyes like crazy in 17 feet. So that's why
Okay.
when I really started trying to think outside the box, I'm like, do I go way deeper or do I go shallower or what? And I'm always on here, and I've said it a couple of times that like the weeds, when the weeds get thick, they can be like 10 degrees cooler. And I'm like,
That's right. That's
let
right.
me see if there's like some fish that are just like up here chilling out, seeing, like what's up in these weeds. And I went up in those weeds and I caught a 26-inch walleye on the 4th of July at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
So
my
they went
god,
up
dude.
there, and it went up early. So I'm like, all right, maybe they just come up here to feed early. Who knows? And I got to really play around with that in the summer, and or like my summer
In your
break.
summer break? Yeah. Yeah.
So I go out there and I repeat it, right? In a different spot on the lake. I'm in like 11 feet of water,
Okay.
and I'm catching fish, and I'm catching better fish than what I've been catching out deep. I haven't been catching like good eater size.
Right.
So I catch one and I'm like, hell yeah, I catch two, three, and I'm up to like 5, 6 walleye, and it's
All in
going
the
like
boat,
real
all
good.
dead, ready to get eaten. No, I'm fucking with
Oh,
you.
fucking murdered. But no, I was like, I'm keeping all these fish, right?
Yeah.
So I'm keeping
How
all
many can
these,
you
and
have? How many walleyes can you have on your lake?
you can have 6
Oh,
per
damn.
person. Yeah, the
Wow.
limit is 6 per person. So I'm
But
so
yeah, so
I
you're
so
catching good eaters going for your limit.
yeah, so here's the deal. I go out and I catch those ones the night before, right? Or like really throughout the whole day, the day before. I catch them
Wow.
in the morning, I catch them in the evening, I catch them like whatever, and
All
I'm just
hiding in
like,
the
okay.
weeds.
Yeah, so then I go
Fuck
out
yeah.
and I'm in like the same spot, but I moved a little bit, and I'm mid-afternoon. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
There's wind, but there's not much clouds and stuff. And the
Mhm.
way the wind is blowing, I'm like, the most aggressive fish are right here. Like, this is where it should be, in
Mhm.
11 feet of water. And I'm finding some pockets, is what I'm doing. I'm finding thick weeds. And when with the depth finder, I was able to find some spots where like there just wasn't weeds.
Oh.
And I'm just like, oh, there's a little spot where they could just be like waiting for something to come across or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know necessarily what the plan is. And I went out, and remember, my personal best is 26. That day, mid afternoon, boat traffic all over the place. It
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
windy, but I think the wind helps it. I caught a 22-inch walleye in 11 feet.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, so I went and I'm just like, hell yeah. And I just wanted to go out and catch one more fish. I was like, let me go see, because I was like, I gotta clean these fish that I got.
Right.
Let me go see if I can catch one more decent one. And then I go catch the biggest one of the week mid
Holy
afternoon, where
shit.
I was just hoping to get like one more eater.
Right.
And that one I did keep. I know 22 is getting a little bit big for a keeper, but I was just like, I wanted to get some walleye fillets that would work well to like throw in the smoker too. I didn't get a chance to
Right.
smoke those, but I was like, that's perfect. Those are big, meaty fillets that I can keep the skin on,
Yep.
that I can do everything I need
Hell
to
yeah.
like really, give it a good smoke, not get small fillets that are like way too smoky,
Right.
get a like
Yeah, they
nice
just
smoke
absorb too
ring.
much of it. Yeah, you need it to only go
Yeah.
down like when you see it on beef, you just want that smoke ring and then all the rest of it's red
Right.
inside. But
Hmm.
sometimes, yep, if the walleye's not big enough, if the
Yep.
fish isn't big enough, you can
Exactly.
fuck it up pretty
And
quickly.
I justified it with the number of small walleyes. I've caught more walleye than I've ever caught in my life this year.
Hell
Every
yeah.
time I go out, I'm catching like 10, 15 fish, but none of them are that big.
Sure.
So it's like, if those walleye are all able to stick around and just grow healthier,
Yeah.
in a little while here, we're going to have a real healthy number of eaters that
Right.
people are going to be ready for.
Right.
And I don't know if the fish really naturally spawn on our lake anyways. So I was like, whatever, keeping this 22 incher. I know it's a little bit big, but fuck it. Like, I
Well, you
think,
were in a unique situation, and also you're up there
and
for a
I'm,
week, right? Like,
and
so
also, yeah. And
you,
also it's allowed. It's not like I broke any laws. I
yeah,
just morally feel bad about keeping bigger fish.
right,
And this one, I was just like, whatever.
yeah,
Sorry, bud.
right,
You lived a good life. You're done.
yep.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
so,
And that's right.
so
That's a good
yeah.
way of putting it. It's just like
Yeah.
you're like yeah, you have morals around your
Yeah.
fishing, and in this
Right.
particular case, you had, you kind of like
Yeah.
you bent your rules. You didn't break them. You just kind of bent
Exactly.
your own
Yeah.
personal
I kind
rule.
of bent my own rules a little bit where, I didn't have a hard, steadfast rule. I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm keeping this one.
But you
Because
also
I
didn't
even
cut
set
up
out,
the
I'm
fillet
like,
and then forget to smoke it by leaving it out in the sun, and a raccoon got it the next morning.
exactly. Nope. I filleted it and that shit's in the freezer.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, preferably, I wanted to like just cut it up and fillet it immediately and not have to worry about that. But I have heard that for whatever reason, like the day after, like when you let, basically like, it's not rigor mortis, but it's that same kind of thing. Like
Yep.
the texture of the fish changes; it gets a little bit stiffer,
Mm-hmm.
and then it cooks up. So you don't want to cook it immediately, anyways. I've heard that like brand new fresh fish, like directly after you fillet it, isn't necessarily when you want to be cooking it. But I think for like sashimi, where it's like really soft,
Mm-hmm.
then you do, as soon as you cut the fish off the bone, or however you
Yep.
want to say it, then you snack on that
Yep.
bitch. But
Yeah.
that was not what I was teasing though.
What?
So what I was teasing was because I got up in the weeds, I'm like, we got time. Let me try playing around with this and stuff. And all of a sudden I'm just like, you know what? There's an inside weed edge, right? So you have the weed edge is on this lake is like 15 to 16 feet, generally speaking.
Okay.
That's where the weeds kind of stop. And then beyond that is just kind of like open. So like if you're on the weed edge, it's just kind of like this wall where fish can kind of like line up on and they're waiting.
Okay.
The inside weed edge is in like 8 feet, which is relatively shallow in the summer. But I was like, if I'm catching fish in 11, let's see what's up in 8. Let's try this inside weed edge
Okay.
and see what happens. So we're kind of fishing, and I'm just like, maybe this is where, we learned some shit that we weren't quite sure.
Okay.
And I'm just trolling, going slow, but I have a crankbait on. And I'm just dragging it, and I have a tail dancer. It's like a smaller one. I'm like, maybe I'll catch a crappie, maybe I'll catch whatever. I catch a bass, I catch a rock bass, big rock bass, and kind of just be like, okay, so there's a rock bass here, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My nephew catches a fish,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I got something. And I'm just like, okay. And he's like, I don't know. I think I got something. And he's like, it's tugging and stuff. And he's weird. He's like, it's not really fighting.
Hmm.
And he gets it up, and he lands. So if you've listened to this podcast before, and I've talked about this lake, I've been fishing this lake since I've been fishing this lake since before I could drive, and
Okay.
I'm 38 now.
Right. So we're talking more than 20 years.
More than 20 years. And I have said that I have caught bullhead, or I've never caught a bullhead. I have only seen
'em.
bullhead dead.
Yeah.
And he caught like a 2-pound yellow bullhead.
Yellow bullhead?
It was big as shit, dude.
No way.
The state record yellow bullhead is 3 pounds and 10 ounces.
Holy shit.
And he caught like a 2-pounder. So we're talking, that
Dude.
was a big yellow bullhead where I wanted to keep it. And it had a big scar on its side.
Oh, really?
I don't know if stuff, but it looked kind of like a weird, like almost like damage from something else. Not necessarily like it got bit, but
like
maybe
got
it did
hit by
get
a
bit,
boat?
like something just grabbed its tail.
Okay.
and wasn't able to take it out because they got the barbs and something grabbed it by the tail and it just gave it a little yeah, and then the whatever fish bit it was it's like, oh shit, dude, you got weapons?
Just
Like,
got fucking stabbed in the mouth.
yeah, so
Stays rude.
that was a big old shocker because
No
I've been
kid.
fishing this. I've bobber fished with live bait and everything. He was dragging a jig with a gulp alive fake minnow. So it's a very stinky minnow.
Ah,
So I don't know if you have to like use that stink bait. So now I'm like,
right.
all right,
Because
well
that's what
he's in like
catfish go for, is that stinky shit.
exactly. And the size of it, I was trying to be like, I think we should keep this thing. Like there's meat on this. We should eat
Right.
it. And everybody else was like, no, gross. So I had to throw it back just because everybody has this weird
The stigma that
thing in
we've
their
talked
head.
about.
This stigma. And it's like, you know that we just pulled that out of one of the cleanest bodies of water you've ever been in.
Right.
It's not like
You would
we
eat
pulled
any
this.
other fish out of here. So what's up with this, right?
Exactly. We're catching a big bullhead in this, and then my dad starts telling stories about how they used to eat them. Like grandma would cook them up and all this shit. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
then what's going on here?
Then
Yeah,
then why were you one of the people telling me to throw it away? Right?
yeah. Have you heard those gnarly stories about like? I've heard him say it and other people where they're just like, yeah, we'd catch bullheads and then they'd put it on a wooden board and they just put a nail right through its
Right.
head.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they just like grab the skin with the
Skin and
pliers
just
and
peel
rip it
it
off.
off.
And you're just like, damn, that's brutal sounding. But at least you put the nail through the head so it's not there to feel you rip its skin.
Yeah,
from
because you
its
should be
flesh.
braining it at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you're
As long as you
killing
know what
the
you're
thing.
doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You could also just
Yep.
be fucking sticking it through the mouth and peeling the skin off of this fish while it's alive.
Right. Well, it's alive.
Oh,
Ugh.
fuck. Anyways, a
not
big
standing.
yellow bullhead, dude. I'm so
A big
surprised.
yellow
I'm so
bullhead.
fucking
Yeah,
surprised.
I guess technically, excuse me, as speaking, it could be like a brown one,
Yeah.
but it was yellow.
Yeah.
It was so
we talked
yellow.
about that because there are
Yeah.
the different shades. Yellow was
Right. And I mean, I don't know how you tell for sure. All I know is
Yeah.
that the color of it was yellow, and I was just like, yeah, that's a yellow bullhead.
that's fucking cool, dude.
And just for fun, when we were talking about like different things you can keep or
Different things you
not
can keep.
I don't know what the fuck I just said, dude. I'm getting tired.
We'll
Different
wrap up here.
like lures and whatever that you can use, and how we've like I've said before, like if you want to catch stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so like it doesn't really matter if you keep fishing and you're in the right spot, maybe you'll be able to catch stuff. Braxton, I should ask if he's okay with it. I think he is. I've thrown pictures up on Instagram already. Decided to put a jig head through a Nerf dart, and he caught a rock bass using his Nerf dart jig. So he caught a pretty good rock bass off of that Nerf dart, and then yeah, it was like a jig head with a fake worm. Caught him a decent bullhead. So yeah,
On a lake where you knew they were in there, but you've never got a live one. That's awesome, dude.
yeah,
I'm pumped on that.
There was one time I saw one fighting with a sunfish.
That's right.
And
but you
that was
never.
that was a weird where I don't know who was spawning, but
Right.
it was weird as shit that it was up there. But I've only seen them floating once they're already dead.
Right.
So I had no idea where to catch them.
That's rad.
And at least now we got one, and it's
Right.
the inside weed edge where I've almost spent no time. So it's like
Kind of makes sense.
shallow weeds
Yeah.
and the inside weed edge is a whole new world that is producing fish. So if you're out there and you're not having luck on where people tell you that they should be, try something outside the box because it's working out.
Well, shit, dude, I'll go up there and I'll catch some bullhead with you and cook them up if you find
Hell
success.
yeah, dude.
And
I was
we can
really
make that
regretting
work,
it.
I'd do
Yeah,
it.
I was really regretting it afterwards. I should have just told him like screw off. You guys don't
Overruled.
need to eat it anyways. Overruled. I'll cook it myself.
Right.
I'll eat the bullhead by myself.
All
Yeah.
right. Anything else from your trip that you wanted to share? Because we're getting long. We're getting late.
No, man, I think that's I did. Yes. I went to the races.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my cousin's husband, Tim Gonska, is a racer up there. He drives a race car. He's got a race car.
Yep.
It's like 5G, I think, is the number of his car. And dude, it was an awesome time because he's a race car driver.
Mhm.
This raceway that they have has like these suites. So we were able to sit in these suites. Like they're not, the super night. Like don't, think you're going to like a basketball game,
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
it's
You're
its
not in
own
fucking
room.
Staples Center.
Right. And it's like plexiglassed in or whatever. So you're, the cars are loud as hell, but you're able to have conversations. And I'm learning a lot of stuff, and it's cool watching the races, and we're actually able to talk about it. And,
Yeah. That sounds
all that
fucking
shit. And then it was the kids day or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, and they do their first set of races, and then they do like the features are basically like, if you do good enough in the first sets, then you move on to the next
Right.
sets or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
After all those first sets, every single driver brought all their cars to the track right in front of all the stands.
Okay.
And then all the kids were allowed to go out there and like walk and look at all this stuff. And each one of the drivers brought candy. It was like walking through like a
No way.
parade. So you're getting like candy. Some of them are handing out they're handing out their like postcards of themselves. So you got like the name and the car and
Mhm.
everything.
Almost like a little
And then
baseball card kind of thing. But
yeah,
it's a postcard.
exactly. Yep. And then you're getting all the different candy and everything, and they're just filling up their bags. And then you can put in your name at this table, like by the concessions and stuff.
Mhm.
And they were giving away like bikes and scooters and shit.
Damn.
And just randomly, like my son is gonna want to go to the races all the time because we go to these races. He's getting candy.
Right.
He's having fun with these other kids.
Yeah.
Randomly gets his name pulled, and he won a Jurassic Park scooter.
What?
Yeah,
No
dude.
way,
So just
dude.
like it was a gnarly little like
What?
this couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, no kidding.
Except for my cousin's husband, who didn't have that good of a night. And there was like a little fender bender that like screwed up his brakes, and brakes in that is a big deal because
Right.
you got to like tap the brakes to slide the car sideways because they're basically like drifting the turns.
Oh, is it sprint cars?
No, not sprint cars, but it's like a dirt track.
It's a dirt track still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're, everything besides the 4-cylinder front wheel drive cars are like sliding the ass around the turns.
Yep.
And, they're getting, into those turns and stuff. And I just saw a post on Facebook that he was saying that finally got the car up and running.
Oh,
and
shit.
this was, almost a month, I think.
Yeah.
So they've been like really trying to not up and running, but like back to normal.
It's back
like
in it's back in order now again. Finally,
because he
It's
was
took a
saying
month
that
or more.
everything got destroyed basically on that side. He said they had to replace the rotor, the caliper, the pads. He had to go and borrow a couple of brake lines from another guy close. So it was like everything with the brakes was screwed up.
Damn.
And for whatever reason, they just didn't figure it out for a while. It
Yep.
took them a while to figure out exactly what was going on and
Yep.
to get it back to full order. So we'll probably have to try to go and see another one now.
Right.
And hope he does a little bit better. He was bummed, dude. He comes up and he's
Yeah.
just like, dang, I wish I could have done better for you guys.
Yeah.
And we're just being like, yeah, man, I get it. It sucks. The cars, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And then meanwhile, I'd just be like, don't feel too bad because we had fun and we won a scooter. I'm snacking on candy over here, like not trying to be like,
Not trying to
whatever,
like rub
dude.
it in your face that this was fucking awesome, even though you did.
Yeah,
shitty.
we had a real good time still. So like, but I'm not trying to just be like, oh, don't worry about it. I had a blast.
Right.
like,
Right.
So didn't want to, exactly like you said, don't want to rub it in your face and just be like, yeah, we don't give a shit. You know? But it's like, because I did care, but I also didn't,
Right.
I did want him to do good for him and everything, and it'd
Right.
be awesome to be like, yeah, nice work.
Right.
But I'm not just gonna be like, ugh, the fuck, Tim. You know?
Right.
But no, it was awesome. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'll definitely go back, especially when you get to sit up in those suites, man. Like, I've been to
Yeah.
races before, but when you got the headphones on and you're just watching the shit go in circles and you can't talk to anybody next to you, so you're almost like in your own world, just like watching the cars go around, and then every once in a while you like look over at somebody else, like, hey,
Right.
yeah, right,
Give them the thumbs
all
up.
right.
That's
And you
about
just
it.
keep doing the same shit.
Right.
Yeah, being able to have a
Like a social
conversation
time about it too was
a freaking game changer, because
Yeah.
it got a little bit weird up there. Some of those little boys went to the zoo and had some salt and vinegar crickets that they got. So they're
No
like
way,
eating
dude.
bugs and shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it was a little bit like,
Party.
it was just a good time. Like, none of that happens all the time. So people are eating bugs and just like, this is weird. But I was loving it. I was there for every minute of it. So yeah, and just like had quite a bit of my family was out there. So that was kind of cool to see everybody. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good time. I almost forgot to throw that one in there. But yeah, that was definitely a good time. So if anybody's trying to go out to them races, make friends with somebody who drives, because it's a better show when you're sitting up in those suites.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Sounds like you had a good ass break. I'm glad to hear that. It's
yeah.
I wish mine was a little bit longer in the sense of like more rest time, but it was fun. So I'm going into winter okay. I'm going into fall like I'm good. It's okay. Got a little break in there.
Right.
I'm happy with it.
Nice. Yeah, you got some break. Yeah, I'm going into fall like
can't wait.
I gotta make sure I'm trying to be like, oh, I can't, we're like, oh, do you want to go out to dinner tonight or whatever? And we're just like, no. Save that money. We gotta make sure we got like extra dough if we want to do whatever. We were talking about going fishing, because where we're at, a lot of the fishing is for reds. Dude, which is basically like topwater bass fishing for a lot of what I've seen.
Hell yeah.
And they fish like bass, like you fish them like bass, but they fight like hell. And dude. Oh man, I'm excited thinking about it, dude.
Yes, God, I hope you get to do that.
Oh man, yeah. Richard, my brother-in-law, already talked about like he wants to go fishing. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm there for it. Whatever you want. You want to go inland bass fishing in Florida? Dope.
Right.
You want to go inshore fishing like redfish and stuff? Awesome. You want to go offshore big fish? Sweet. I don't care. Let's whichever.
Whatever it is.
Take your pick. I'm down for all of it.
Yeah.
But dude, I think redfish is my top, because they were talking about like that's what this time, the time of year we're going down there, and like that's their specialty.
Season, I'm dude.
Like, oh my God. Hell yeah, dude. If I could catch a redfish, I'd be over the moon. It doesn't even need to be a big one.
Right.
But if I catch a big one, oh boy.
I think you said that in the redfish episode of like they're like I think you said something like it's like bass fishing. And that's why they do the redfish cup, because then with a bass fisher, because there's like the similarity.
Yeah, because you can throw like topwaters and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Let's wrap this up. We're going super long. You know what? Please, if you're listening to this on a podcast, go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@RealAFTV. Remember, real like fish and real. Give us a subscribe. That's all we want this time. That's it. And then, we got to do our normal goodbye, because we're not. We never just end these podcasts like this. Are you crazy? That's not how Midwesterners